Soshells in chat. Good to see you, my friend. We are going to bring her on right now. Everybody, give it up for the one and only Miss Soshells. Oh, no, there's no volume. What's going on? I got nothing.
No.
There you are.
Yeah.
How's she sound, everybody? Sounds good?
You guys can hear me?
Yeah, sounds good to me. All right, dope. Let me put some of Sleaze's favorite beats on in the background. So we got some background noise going on.
That sounds lovely.
Lovely. It'll
Stream
drive him crazy.
sleazy, dangerous, steezy. What don't we got?
It's true. Good to see everybody. What's going on? 500 sheets of paper. Thanks for coming in. 5x5. That is an awesome reference. Being able to hear, knows about communication. 5x5. Thuggy, how are you doing today, my friend?
Really good. Yeah, I'm awesome today. I've been doing really good lately, actually. It's been springtime here, so it's hard to have a bad day. I just take my dog for a walk if I get grouchy.
Yeah. I tried to get our old friend Ripley to join us back here, but she got antsy about a minute before the show came on and decided to take off. She got spayed. She got spayed yesterday. So she's
probably pissed at you for a little bit. She's like, I don't really want to.
Well, to be fair, I don't think she's pissed at anybody because she's high as a kite on painkillers. So a lot of sleeping going on. That's the standard mode for her right now. Lots of good painkillers, I imagine. But the cone, it's the cone, the straight depression you see in an animal when they're wearing the cone.
Yeah, the cone of shame.
The cone of shame. Thank you so much, Hitman, for that gift to Ricochet. I appreciate that so much. Thuggy's a bit louder than me. Yeah, no, I can modify that a little bit. I'll bring it up. No worries. Thank you for pointing that out. That's how we need to fix it. Thanks to everybody. Thanks for bringing the raid over with your family there, Thuggy. I appreciate you.
Of course. We were just vibing.
Yeah, it sounded good. I had you on a little bit beforehand, and always a good time to hear Thuggy kicking the freeze, as it were, in that super dope studio you have there. I love it.
I know. If I ever move, it's going to be just annoying.
Oh, my goodness. It's how much of that is a fire hazard back there?
There's actually 2 fire extinguishers. So
good play.
Yeah, because every time people would come in, they'd be like, "Oh, there's a fire hazard," and I just pull up the fire extinguisher. Like I'm the fire hazard. I'm fire.
I am the fire.
I am the fire.
Nice. So tell me I know we just watched My Own Boss, one of the newest releases you have going on.
Oh, so old now.
Well, yeah, I know. It's one of the newer ones, right?
It is the most recent one, but I've been so busy that I haven't actually put anything out since then. I got a big stack of stuff out soon, though.
Yeah. So we'll get into that in a little bit here, but let's talk about Not a Cult a little bit. What can you tell us just on the surface? What tell the people who might not know about Not a Cult?
It's so good, and my favorite part of the Not a Cult is the big inside joke. It happened on stream. I was rapping, and our whole theme is nautical, and it's always been nautical. That's how I started. My first rap song ever was about dolphins, and I remember being on stream, and I was like, "It's not a cult. Wait, it's not a cult." And all of us in the chat were like,
yeah.
And of course, our amazing Celestial Bean did up the art right away. And then it just kind of took on a life of its own. It was just too good to not be born. You know how some ideas are we have come to be birthed. And so it's not a cult. We already had Thug Juice because my Breakbeats for Breakfast video, Thug Juice was already a thing. And then created a song about it. And now we have an anthem. So if anyone asks, it's not a cult.
Fantastic.
It's pretty good.
And so that's the name of the EP?
No, it's just a song we put out.
Okay,
and
just
it's
a song.
The name of our crew, yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was
Basically,
the name of the crew.
Inside. Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if it was the name of the EP or not.
No. As much as I would love to make a whole EP about it being a cult,
right.
Been working on some other things.
I was just watching the I just felt like I got hit with a bunch of Thuggy stuff all at once, and I was like, is this have they made the Not a Cult into a whole EP? And
well, I actually found some samples that could be used for future cult songs, but I gotta finish all the other things I'm doing before I make another cult banger.
Yeah, let's
unless that's what the people want. One in chat if you would prefer me to drop everything and make a cult banger instead.
That's low-key vote rigging right there.
Yeah.
I love it.
If you want something else.
Yeah, what? Anything else? Any other number?
Anything else.
So, well, let's talk about you have a ton of really, how do I put this? Elaborate videos
Thanks.
You have a lot going on in your videos, and honestly, it's super impressive. The amount of people, the amount of costumes, the amount of handcrafted props, the backgrounds, the stuff, like it's incredible. Thanks. Can you talk to me a little bit about, the setup for something like, let's say the breakbeats one, for example, versus something like, the one you're on a boat, right? And that's most of it. You're just on the boat.
Oh, I love the boat. Yeah, I guess I hear the dog. Yeah, it's pretty dope. So like I'm an indie artist. I do everything myself or like with the help of my awesome squad. So every video that I've ever made, really all of them are stupidly low budget. Like Own Boss is the first video that I paid, and that's just because I didn't want to do any of the editing or shooting myself. So I was like, I got my friend Sonic. I'm just like, you do this shit so well, so you do that. I'm gonna leave that to you. And that was the most. Every other video, I don't think I've spent more than like $500 or $600, including the shooting and like the editing of it. So for example, the boat video, I go houseboating with my friends every year. I've been the captain the last couple of years, and we go in the shoe swaps, and I really wanted a video there because it's just beautiful. So the boat video is actually the easiest thing ever to shoot because I just wore what I was already wearing and shot at the boat that I was already at. It was mostly like, hey Dave, would you mind just taking like an hour from the party side and filming me doing weird stuff? So that one was sweet because it was easy. It was just us vibing in the right places. But video, like the breakbeats for breakfast, that was my first video ever, and that one was pretty intense. But regardless of any of the videos I've ever done, what it kind of looks like is me setting a loose plan, me power crafting and not sleeping for the 2 days before the video, me calling up every friend that I own to go to set location of the video, me bringing every prop I own, costumes I own to dress people, and the said crafts I made, throwing them at the shoot location, and then everyone helps make it nice, and then we're there all day, and then we clean up, and then we...
Right. Okay. So I see some of those, those props end up in your menagerie of stuff there to some degree, and they they show up occasionally. You'll hold something up and I'm like, oh, I recognize that.
Yeah, wait, where's my... Someone the other day was like, where can I order Boss templates? And this was actually like the most expensive prop of my Boss video.
I'm sure it was. Because you ordered that from like Office Depot or something, or some sign
like
shop.
That. Yeah.
I love it.
Hitman, thank you for the gift sub. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, Hitman. Appreciate that, friend. Our one and only German viewer by way of England, or England by way of Germany.
I got a lot of Germans as part of the cult, but we love our Germans. Ich liebe dich.
Germans love Thuggy. So, when you're working on these videos, or I mean, there's the COVID videos, right? That started. There was, the stuff that was clearly like in the house, and the don't put it in your mouth video, is like absurdly stuck in my head anytime it comes through the list,
that was a good one. That was like a dumb idea that was birthed and executed to the top notch of my abilities. It even made like Canadian news.
I saw that.
All of my press, because I'm a Canadian artist, so going for an American visa, you need like provable press, and like the most press that I have is from the viral "Don't Put It in Your Mouth" video, and it wasn't even like viral. It was like Baby Thug viral. Yeah,
sure. Like local enough to get on the news viral, right?
Yeah.
No, and I definitely when I was doing my research, I saw that pop up, and that's a lot of fun. And for those that don't know, the Don't Put It in Your Mouth video is available on Soshells. Just go to youtube.com/Soshells and you can check that out. That was released 2 years ago, if you can believe it. 2+ years ago.
Was it only 2? Yeah, I think it might have been like 3.
It's pushing up on 3.
Time goes fast.
That's crazy. So
I think that was like right when it was just after I kind of started streaming a little bit too, because we had all that back there. But like the living room, like there's no like algae. Like it was like such a stripped down version of this. It was just the wall. Yeah,
I'm looking at the thumbnails from that time, and it's a lot more sparse.
Yeah, when I had all my ferrets, there were so many ferrets.
Oh my gosh, so many ferrets. There are 4 or 5, right?
5.
Yeah. And for those that for the Americans or the people not Canadian that might not know the "Don't Put It in Your Mouth" thing, that was like from a PSA from the 90s or something. It was Muppet-esque PSA to tell, kids don't put it in your mouth, or, kind of like the poison control sort of thing. Is that accurate?
Yes. Yeah. And it's funny because it was actually, sounds like it was only really Western Canada, because Vecht, who produced the song and scratched on it, he's from Ontario and he had never heard of it before.
Oh, wow.
The first version of the song he made didn't even sample the actual part. And I was like, you got to remake this. The part we need is the don't you put it in your mouth part.
That's the hook.
That's the hook. Yeah, this is funny. There's actually a different version before that was like, I can't even remember because it was so long ago. But I was like, but so on the west coast, on the west side of Canada, we grew up with it. But apparently even out east, it wasn't a thing.
Huh. Well, Canadians have a wide. You
guys had the
land.
house hippos, right? Like everyone knows about the house hippos, or is that a Canadian thing?
Wait, what's a house hippo?
Oh my God, I need to fix your childhood. One sec.
Well, I'm also double your age, so.
Well, I'll post the link in chat, but basically the house hippo was another PSA that Canada had, and it was about not believing what you see on television. And it's a whole infomercial about the Canadian house hippo lives on breadcrumbs and peanut butter, and it photoshops these tiny little basically they look like ferrets, but they're hippos. They're they nestle in closets, and at the end of the PSA it's don't believe everything you watch on television. And so every child wanted a house hippo.
That's fantastic. I've never heard of that.
So anyway, now the house hippos are. I still want one.
Yeah, and I know what I'm doing on YouTube. Later, after this is over, I'm watching house hippo video.
Yeah, Canadian broadcasting was pretty hype back in the day. I don't know what they're up to now. There was a whole when COVID hit, my province, they put out this COVID campaign and they spent millions of dollars, and it was not good. It was really, really dumb. It was there was this party and there was a COVID molecule, and they're no one wants to be that guy, and
no.
It's a freaking grad party with a little COVID molecule. So back in the day it was good. Also, we got a level 1 hype train at 69%, so
somebody ruined it.
Schmakey's, you ruined my 69. It was just mine, it wasn't our 69. Claim it.
Phrasing. Anyway, we have hype train going on. Thank you so much. Sorry, I ruined it.
Maybe we should do something crazy for the hype train.
What do you want to
questions?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Lightning round.
I don't know if you want to. It's your show.
Yeah, whatever.
We're just talking a lot.
Yeah, it's fine. That's what we're here for. We're to talk.
Fine,
we'll let Chad decide. So, coming back to the videos. I mean, are you, when you're doing the shooting of this stuff, right? You have help, obviously. Are you doing any of the video editing? Are you doing the audio mastering?
I used to.
Okay.
I used to do a lot. I don't want to do anything anymore. I've gotten to the point where I'm too busy. So at the start, it really depends kind of on a video to video basis. Break feeds for breakfast. There's a couple times where someone else, the friend that I hired on or whatever, did everything. A lot of the videos that I shot with my old roommate Joe, I love them to bits, but I ended up having to kind of intensely edit a lot of stuff, which was dope because I had a lot of control, but I don't want to be doing that. So I guess I'm learning to release. Yeah, I'm learning to release creative control. And I'm cool with it. I just want something that looks cool. And I have a general vision. And I mean, obviously, I'll get the first draft and I'll be fix this, fix this, fix this. But I used to be the one fixing those things. Yeah. And now I just can be fix this.
I get that. I want to get to the point, I'm working with some other people on some video stuff, and we're getting to the point where we're we should hire somebody that's way better at this than us, and just tell them what to do, because
I don't want to do it anymore. I have enough support, which is amazing. And I went to the Junos, which are the Canadian Grammys, a couple weeks ago, and I went to a talk at the library by the president of the Junos, and he said one thing that really resonated to me. And he was he wasn't when do you need a manager, but that's where the conversation stemmed from. But it's hey, when do you know that you need help? And it's well, when everything else is taking over the making of the art.
Yeah.
And I used to have to do it all myself, and now I'm all I want to do is make music. It's getting to the point where it's I have so much stuff that I have to practice and that I want to practice, and I just keep stacking music releases that I'm I still have written on my wall what you told me, delegate or suffocate. It's on my whiteboard.
That's awesome. Thuggy and I spoke a year and a half ago, and I was
I can't do this.
We just had a kind of a come to the Lord meeting about what is feasible, and what should be, what should the focuses be when
We have good
when you've
talks.
got, yeah, it's true. When we have too much going on in our lives. And yeah, somebody told me that once, and I've definitely stuck with that. Delegate or suffocate. It's,
I have a new organizational system that one of my mods, Andrew, told me about recently.
Okay.
And it's literally my new religion. Like, it has changed my life. I like swear by it. It's called Todoist. So it's like to-do list, but Todoist.
Sure.
And it's like I finally, because my to-do lists were like everywhere in 12 different notebooks on 12 different emails and 12 different browsers.
Yeah.
And now I just have one. And I'm like, this is so good.
Is that one of the, like...
It's an app.
Oh, it's an app. Okay, yeah.
It's an app. Yeah, you can use it for free, or I paid for the subscription because I'm like, this is my new thing.
All in, eh?
But it's awesome. You like write everything, and then you can subdivide it into folders. So now I have like a office hours related to music folder, and I can just move my to-dos. So when I sit down and I'm like, oh, I have a lot of emails to answer, I just open like the office hours tab, and then I work through my office hours, because no one teaches you this. There's no blueprint as like a self-employed creative. You just kind of have to like figure out things, and sometimes you're on the clock 24 hours a day, and that's dumb. I'm trying to get rid of that.
Yeah, I might need to look into that. I have raging attention deficit disorder, so I'm always looking for better ways to manage myself, not so much my time, but myself, because I know that my time, I have time to do stuff, but actually focusing to do it and having something that holds me accountable has always been a clutch for me.
I had a little thing once and I wrote it down too, but it's like, it's not a time management problem, it's a priority problem. And like the issue is like, you're giving your attention to things that probably could just, you don't have to. You don't have to answer 14 emails in the middle of working on a song while you're restructuring your OBS. Like, figure out what it is you actually want to do and just do it.
Yeah. This is great. That's a great tip. I'm going to, in chat here, we say that XAF and Crochet Crazy, both two of my mods, use Todoist. So there you go.
It's super sick. Yeah, big shout out to my mod, Andrew, who turned me onto it. My God.
That's awesome.
I don't know where my life would be this week. I feel like everything was falling apart, and now I'm like, I got this.
Not sponsored by Todoist. We'll work on that.
Yeah.
We'll get that. We'll get that
and
going.
Adidas. Let's go.
Adidas.
Also, if you got that Starbucks hookup, I'm in.
Yeah. That's a different story.
Yeah. Although I've actually been realizing I should probably cut back on my coffee. I don't know.
I gave caffeine up about 8-9 years ago.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, I had to. It was so bad. I was in such bad shape with it. I was drinking so much caffeine. I literally thought I was having a heart attack one day. And I'm like, no, that's enough. I went and saw the doctor, and they're like, you're super dehydrated. How much caffeine are you drinking? Like,
how much were you drinking? Like a French press or like 3?
Yeah, I would drink a bodum of French press, and I would let it sit for quite a while. But then I would drink it in about 40 minutes. And
that's what I do.
Yeah, and then I would drink a bunch of Mountain Dew in the afternoon.
Okay, I've never been a Mountain Dewer.
Yeah, it's a mountain don't for me at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just cut it. I do have a decaf in the morning, decaf coffee, just because I like a hot drink.
Yeah, actually, I should pick up some decaf. I think that's all I really want. Because, like, I don't know. I really, like, I have so few vices.
You find something different,
I know, but, like, I don't know. Coffee just feels safe,
If it doesn't have caffeine, you won't even notice. Like, it has a little bit.
Decaf.
Or you can, you can do what I did was I tapered myself off. I did like 3/4 of a scoop of regular and 1/4 of decaf, and then like slowly, over a month or so, wean myself off. And there is a little bit of caffeine in decaf, but
pretty good.
It's like
I just got my
non-alcoholic
Fitbit
beer.
working, and it has like, I don't know, it has different ways of tracking stuff and like sleeping and stuff. And now I don't want to let my watch down. So like yesterday, I finally got 8 hours of sleep because I didn't want my watch to be upset with me. So maybe there's like a caffeine counter on here. There's
amazing.
A Starbucks app, which is the opposite.
Well, that's the caffeine counter. You've gone to Starbucks 6 times.
Yeah, shit.
Wonderful. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Do you have any other vices, like outside, like
No, I
hobby
did that,
stuff,
like,
you?
No, like when I started, I don't drink, and like I don't do drugs. When I started being a rapper, like when I started taking it seriously, I wanted to do a year sober off everything, and that just stuck. So I've been like 5 years off of like basically everything.
Good for you.
So coffee's my vice. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, I don't want to give it up. I'm already a square in a good way. I like being a square. I'm the one that's like, I don't do the after parties. Like my friends call me up when their lives are falling apart and they're like, I'm so glad that you're wholesome. Can I like come over? Because it's Sunday morning and I'm like not hungover. I'm like, yeah, sure.
It's like, I've already done 3 hours of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. That's fantastic. Yeah, I'm getting old enough where I have a drink or two and I'm like, I'm going to pay for this in the morning.
I don't know how people do it. I've the last couple weekends I've had friends having shows and I've had my own shows and I've stayed up too late and like I'm wrecked the next day and I'm like, I didn't do anything crazy, you know, I just stayed up and danced.
You're just body tired.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't get any better. Well,
no, I imagine
you know what?
not.
But you're in pretty good shape.
That's why we taper down the caffeine and then we ramp it up as we get older.
It helps you though. You're in pretty good shape. You take care of yourself, from what I understand. You still running?
Yes. Yeah. I actually just kicked running back up. I wasn't running for a bit because it was like cold as hell here. But I started a weird new hobby that I'm like obsessed with. I've been doing aerial silks and like aerial, like not that much aerial hoop and acrobatics, but aerial silks.
Thank you so much for reading what I was saying there. I was trying to guide you to that, or I was going to ask it directly. Look at us. We're professionals.
I know. We're in tune.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was watching one of the videos of you doing a thing. You're like, I did it. And it was pretty confusing, but I know it was impressive to watch. So
it was so cool because I've only been doing it. So Wednesdays are my like aerial silks. It's my big gym day. So basically I got adopted by this studio. I was DJing a gig on New Year's Eve, which I streamed. It was friggin' epic. It was like a 5-hour electro swing with performers with like fancy cameras and angles. And I ran into Lindsay. So they and I have run into each other a bajillion times in very, very cool places. Like the first time we met was protesting this like hate preacher on the main street that's here. And we're both like, let's lead this petition against him. But then we never get to hang out because we're both like doing cool stuff. And so they were performing at the gig that I had on New Year's Eve. And then I saw Lindsay again, and they're basically like, I want to adopt you at Circo Fit. So we're kind of doing a trade. I spread them on social media, and then I get private training, and then I get to drop into the double aerial silks classes. And then the long play of it is making me a routine that's going to be a music video. So this is the first time I've ever embarked on a journey because I got a lot of stuff down. Dancing, not so much. Like the coordination. That's why I make so many props for my videos, because I'm just like, oh, look at all this stuff. Look at all the cool outfits. So you don't have to watch me dance.
Display them.
So tomorrow will be my 4th Wednesday at the studio, but it was sweet because the first week I'm like, I can't do this. And the second week I'm like, I can do it. We're giving out. And then last Wednesday, I'm like, okay, this is starting to make sense. And I dropped in on the Saturday and I climbed the thing and did the thing. And I was like, oh my God, my arms are doing the thing that I want them to. So now all of a sudden it just switched in my brain. Instead of like, I like the idea of this, but I can't do it. My body's like, yeah, you can. And it's like this positive feedback loop of like, now I'm like, I just can't wait to get back there. And I imagine it's the same for people that do like rock climbing and stuff like that. Like at first you're super, super weak. And then you realize that you can do it. And it's been working in tandem with, I've been scratching a lot, like practicing my scratching on my non-turntables. And I'm getting to the point where like, I know enough moves and I know enough moves that I can just have fun and jam. And as you jam, you mess around and find out and you kind of create combinations you wouldn't before. So it's been really cool. I've been messing around with production and I've been making my own beats and I actually recorded a song over my own beat. And I'm like, all of these like little beginner things, I'm starting to grasp enough of the beginnings that like the complicated angry phase, because I get really frustrated really easily. So that's like, it's like the learning curve is kind of like this. And now the hobbies that I've started picking up, I'm like, okay, we're gonna have around and find out. Exactly, T Burns.
Exactly, T Burns. Welcome, T Burns. Good to see you, my friend, fellow Harry Mac mod. Got a couple of those in here, actually. Good to see you, everybody. Thanks for coming in. What I was going to say there was, yeah, you're 100% right. And I had this conversation with my daughter a little while back. She started doing something on the computer, and she was losing her mind and like literally having a tantrum because she just couldn't do it right away. I'm like, look, you have to learn the technique. It's not about skill. It's about technique to start. And then you get, it becomes a part of your routine and doing I'm sure that's how it is with rock climbing, like you said, or the silks, like just getting your body in the right position and using your strengths to begin rather than, trying to overpower it with the weakest portions of your body. Like I can't pull myself up there by my arms, but when you position your feet the right way or your knees the right way, you can use the silk or the rope or whatever to go up and, use the strongest part, use your strongest features on top of that. So it's very fascinating.
Yeah, it's fun. I climbed to the top and did my one move, and then I was like, oh, and there was drum and bass playing in the background, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready for my next cool move, but I don't know enough yet. So I'm like, okay, it's time to go to class again, because then you basically learn moves and then you combine moves, and life is just a big video game. It's just, you got to figure it's the same with rapping and your techniques. Life is about just leveling up all your moves and learning new moves so you can work them in tandem and just do that over and over in every facet. And I guess the more facets you master, the more fascinating your world becomes, or something.
Facets are fascinating, man. You're doing it and you don't even know you're doing it. I love it.
Can I fill this really quick? I'm sorry. I ran it in without peeing or watering myself.
Go do it. I'll talk to chat for a minute.
Okay, I'll be back.
Yep. All right, chat. We have our good friend Soshells in the room tonight, and she is visiting us for season 2 premiere, episode 1 of Dangerous Interrogation. Thank you, everybody who has come over on the raid and who has come in from Discord and other portions of the internet. Thank you so much, everybody. Once again, if you'd like to drop some questions for Thuggy, we are going to be taking audience questions over on the Discord. Our mods will drop that link if you're not a part of the Discord. There is a Dangerous Interrogation questions section of that particular server. Go ahead and drop them there, or you can send them in chat to one of the mods and they will wrangle them together for me. We're going to be coming back with Thuggy in a moment here when she goes and gets herself some water and hydrates a bit. Speaking of hydrates, Sleazy, I don't have any alcohol tonight, so no shots. I saw you mention that earlier, but I did bring myself some nice iced tea this evening. Tonight's sponsor, iced tea, and what was it? What's it called? Todoist. Manifeo. I saw you're 40 plus year olds. I can't believe that. I'm sorry. Max 30. Hey man, I'll take it. Yeah, I will be 45 next in May, if you could believe it. I'll take it. I use the Vaseline lens. It makes me look softer and younger. That's what I go with. Just smear that right on the camera there, and it makes everything look good. Yeah, it's an accurate thing. Plus, I keep everything out of focus, so it works out. So Thuggy looks like she's got her hydration, and we're gonna bring her back on. Welcome back, my friend.
Oh hey, I missed you guys.
Oh hey. Chat is going crazy, and it's great to see everybody.
About your Vaseline usage?
Yeah, it's true. Hey, Sir Jazz in chat. Good to see you, my friend.
Jazz, thank you so much for hanging out. He was on stream, and I got so hyped. Happy 3 months.
Heck yeah. Sir Jazz is super dope. If y'all don't know, Sir Jazz is the touring DJ with our good friend Harry Mack, legendary freestyle rapper. If you're not aware, get learnt, my friends.
If you're not aware, you're living under a rock.
Yeah, you're a jag. Get out of here.
Oh yeah, Jag. I learned that last time.
Yes, you did. That is a very specific local slang around Pittsburgh. It's about 100, maybe 150 miles around Pittsburgh. That's the only place that's really used that much.
Oh, I was today years old when I found out Pittsburgh is in Pennsylvania, so that's why Pennsylvania.
Oh my gosh, Thuggy. Well,
I just thought it was funny because Pennsylvania exists. I didn't realize that the chickens were actually in Hensel, Pennsylvania.
They're literally in Pennsylvania, yeah.
Is there a pencil company called Pennsylvania? Because they're missing out if there isn't.
There's a song by a woman named Blossom Dearie, who was fantastic. You would love her. She was a singer in the 50s and 60s. Very just mono sounding, it's just fantastic. Jazz,
what was her name?
Jazzy, Blossom Dearie. And she has a song, what was it called? You Come From Rhode Island. Oh no, Rhode Island is famous for you. And she basically goes through all the states, and one of the things that she says is pencils come from Pennsylvania. And I took
her bar.
You took her bar. You're about 70 years. About 70 years late.
I saved that. I'm gonna check that song out later.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. It's so adorable. And she actually performed up until into her 90s at a club in New York City. Just was still going. I think she died recently, but man, she was still going at it. Every weekend she was playing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Just jazz singers I'm just so inspired by them. Like I listen to some of the tracks and like it's just crazy the amount of like riffing and notes and yeah, singing is masterful, mastery.
Yeah, they I just love that they have that perfect ability to know the music and just like, oh, there needs to be an A flat overtone here, and they can just do it because they know it in their brains.
Yeah, yeah, the amount of like vocal training that it takes to just have, because like so few people are born with perfect pitch, but to just hear it and know how to sing in key and which notes you can hit in key and just music theory, and yeah, it's really cool. Like I wish that I was into music since I was like born. Like I'm glad that I'm on this journey and I'm 5 years into this journey, but just the amount you learn and you realize you need to learn. Like the more you learn, the more you're like, I want to learn more.
Do you?
Which is cool.
Have you ever followed Jacob Collier on YouTube?
That sounds so familiar. I've definitely watched. I don't know if I follow him like a bunch, but
you're aware of him.
Oh, yeah. I just looked up a picture of him. Totally. His videos are so good and they're made so well.
Bonkers. Like the dude's musical
no,
ability
I've
is...
definitely watched a lot of his. Yeah. Oh, that guy's crazy.
Yeah. Sir Jazz does it right. He's a mastermind.
He's got crazy good hair.
Yeah. Well, he's also just, I mean, he literally can produce, like you tell him, I need you to produce 444 hertz or 491 hertz.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, it's like this.
Like, yeah. And then he's like, here's this note in like 15 different variations that are all the differentness and evoke different feelings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jacob Collier was his name, my friend.
Man, Jacobs are just gifted musically. Like I am blessed. Every Jake in my life is just a mastermind. Like shout out to the Jakes. They make the music world go round.
Shout out to Jacob Dylan, everybody. One headlight. That's my time. That was before Thuggy was born. Oh God.
Oh, I was just a little, not even an idea.
I love it. Hey, Clea's in chat. Good to see you, Clea. There's another musician friend.
Yes.
XF shout out the Jakes.
Shout out the Jakes. It's actually a sweet drum and bass producer. I just found out about. That's like they were out a while ago, but they're called the Jakes, and I'd never heard them. And I listened to the one song, and it was
fantastic.
Sick. It's actually a drum and bass producer called the Jakes.
The Jakes.
Like, hey,
well,
shout out the Jakes.
Shout out to the Jakes. Let's go back and I did want to talk about the Silks, and we did a little bit, but let's move on a little bit. I wanted to talk to you about your experience doing the YouTube spots you called cellular bars. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so that was really, really cool, but it's so hard to stick with it, you know? So when I was down on the road there, it was awesome because I had like my friend John who would just like follow me around and do the thing. And the more I did it that week, I was like, oh, this is friggin' sick. But then I get back to my city and I just don't have someone that follows me around with a camera. And I'm sure I could just like find someone or hire someone on, but it was really cold. And like you can't really do that in indoor spaces. So I just kind of like let it fall off the map a little bit. I would love to do some more of that. We need more cellular bars. Honestly, I should start doing that. After these next music videos are done, and I currently have a ton of music that I got to focus on putting out. And then I have so many live sets to prep. But I will bring back the cellular bars. I just couldn't dedicate as much time and energy that it needed when I was back home with like the circumstance I have now. It was super fun. And just doing it for a little bit, like I learned a lot. But yeah, it's a full-time job going out and shooting that content.
100%. And it's a huge effort that could potentially not stick.
Yeah, I think
when you're
maybe
doing it.
like a cool idea too, if I organize it well, which I totally can, I might be able to do that out at the festival. So do like Cellular Bars Festival Edition, which could be a really cool way to utilize, because I'm booked basically every weekend of the summer in a different place, but that could be kind of a fun little series.
Sure. I know that when Harry goes out and they do the touring, they in some cities where they have space, that's what they'll do. They'll have a day that they're like, okay, today is the day that we film 7 hours or whatever to make that happen. I don't know how long they film.
That's crazy.
I'm not on the inside. I'm not on the inside.
But I'm so glad I did that. Like going out and putting myself on the spot like that. Like that's how I freestyled the Capadonna of the Wu-Tang. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, we'll come back on that in a second. I wanted to get into that, but how when you were out doing approaching strangers, how was that received? Like, we see the YouTube video, and those are the ones that you want to take, but
Yeah.
What, you know, how are you?
They
How
were
is it
all
generally received?
I was so nervous. Like I was so nervous right away, and it was TwitchCon, so I decided to make that big sign.
Yeah.
So it was awesome because I had my big sign. And I was like, the first day we went out, I was like, I'd never gone before, and I took my buddy Ice Cold John and then Celestial Bean. We were out in San Diego, and I was so nervous. And so I remember the very, very first person I had, his friends were shy, and they're like, no, but the one guy was like really wanted it, and so that one was really good, and everyone received it really well. The reactions were amazing. There was only one lady who was like, my word is Jesus. And I'm like, I don't know. I want to make this work for you, but I probably won't ever post this video. Like I just,
that's adorable.
But it was cute. But it was really good. Yeah, no, the reactions were awesome. A couple like huge reactions from people. It was really cool. Like it filled me with so much joy, and it was so much fun doing it. But then like, frig, it's so hard to balance like streaming, putting out music, being booked all the time everywhere, and going out and filming that without like a dedicated film crew.
Right.
Like when I was down in Cali, it was so awesome because I just like had my squad that would do the thing.
Yeah.
And back home, I'm sure I could like make that happen, but I will again in the future, I guess. So it was awesome. It was nice shaking the cobwebs off. And once I realized that people really wanted it, because like obviously you want to be very, very respectful. You don't want to be like, can I come rap in your face?
Yeah,
But everyone was super open to it, and the minute I started, everyone was like always really into it. So
Yeah.
it was very rewarding the minute I started doing it, because I was definitely shy. Like I'm a very obnoxious person, but I don't want to be like loud if you don't want me to be loud. You know, like I don't have to be loud.
I get it.
So yeah, I was really shy, and then it got fun, and I was like, oh, and some people got really emotional, so that was really cool. And then I got emotional, and it was like this connection, this human connection.
And I think that's something Harry talks about, that, you know, that energy exchange. It's a real thing, right? You know, you light that.
It's a real thing.
You light that fuse, and you know, it's different than a cipher, right? You know, it's an intimate performance. You know, unless somebody is, you know, for lack of a better way to say it, versed in freestyle rap, they don't know what to expect in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, one of the coolest moments was when we rapped to these people that had never really heard rap before. Like it was like slightly elderly, like Caucasian, like fancy neighborhood. We were just rolling on way to a place, and then I helped this nice lady cross the street or whatever, and she went and got her neighbors, and it was just their reactions were so genuine. Like it was so cute. Like they'd never seen anything like that before.
It's like seeing a mermaid.
Yeah, I was like, hello. Yeah. Yeah, that was the one Shmaki. She told all the stories, and it was so cute. Yeah, no, it was super awesome and super fun, and I definitely will bring that back.
That's great. That's great to hear. I'm sure the people out there would love to see that. So let's move back into that and talk about your experience and how you came about rapping for our good friend Capadonna from the Wu-Tang.
Yeah, that was pretty friggin' sick. Yeah, it was like, I had tunnel vision. I wasn't even starstruck. I was like, this is what we got to do now, which is really funny because I can bring it back to the moment. So when you guys had me on the happy hour on Harry Mac's channel, I remember sitting and standing over there because I used to stream off my little webcam and my computer before I had my PC. I remember being like so nervous, and I'd spent that whole morning like warming up. And I remember being so nervous that I was shaking. Like I watched that video back and like I can see myself shaking because I'm nervous, you know? And I remember that day was the day that I was like, I'm going to practice every day. So when opportunities that matter arise, I'm confident. And I know that I can, like, I don't have to be, because it's like, I just remember getting the opportunity that I really, really, really appreciated and being like, oh. And so it was awesome because for the last couple of years, I set forth on my practice journey. And so like when I met Capadonna, I was just like, this is what we're doing. Like I didn't even blink. But I was in San Diego for TwitchCon, and then found out that Busta, Wu-Tang, and Nas were playing in LA. They were also playing in San Diego, but I wanted to see them in the Hollywood Bowl. So we ripped over to LA. And I like obviously like wanted to meet him, but you know, you can't just like plan that.
You can't just like call them up like
yeah, I had a really sick night, and it was awesome. I was like, yeah. So anyway, didn't meet them. And the next day I really wanted to go shoot some Venice beach bars because I was trying to do the thing, and I was like, okay, where do you go? We're in LA, let's go to Venice. And I was rapping to someone on the street, and this dope guy comes over to me, and he's like, hey, I have someone for you to rap to. And he just takes me to the back alley, and he's like, this is Capadonna from the Wu-Tang, go. And I went.
Well,
and that's how it happened.
Well, folks, if you haven't seen that video, make sure you tune in. Go over to
And it
youtube.com
was
slash
so
Soshells.
stupid because that's the only time the audio is so bad. Like the rest, all of them had the best audio, but the Wu-Tang, of course, isn't gonna be. But it still happened. I booped the Wu-Tang, and it was funny because I was staying in California a couple weeks ago, and like I was staying in a hotel downtown, and I met some people that were kind of associated with them, and it was really funny because the person that I met that was associated with them, like Capadonna, definitely remembers me. I was messaging them, and they sent me like a picture back, and I was like, "Tell my boy I say hi." And so
That's
it's awesome.
fantastic.
My voice was completely shot, so I was like, "Can't do anything at all. Pretend I'm not here." But like,
So I saw some other than the like out in the alley. There was some more follow up to that though, wasn't there? Was there a? I feel like there was.
I flew home and opened for Afro Man, and then I rapped with.
That's
Afro
what it
Man.
was. That's what was next. Yeah,
In the same week, it was like the Wu-Tang and Afro Man. I'm like, huh, okay.
That's crazy, man.
That was a good week.
Hey, man. Like you said, from the happy hour thing, and I wanted to step back on that when you were in happy hour. Like, I was there for that, obviously, and I was so happy that we were able to get you on.
Hence the name of the hour.
Hence the name. But from my perspective, where I was sitting, I did not see the nervousness in any way, shape, or form from you.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I was like shaking. I was like so eager. I thought my face was gonna break.
Yeah, I did not see that from you. So know that even with your apprehension or nervousness, it didn't come across to the audience, and I think that.
Aw, thank you, Axs.
Well, I'm just saying, like.
Yeah.
You've gone nothing but up since then because of having that attitude of thinking like how you felt is like, I'm going to fix how I feel rather than what I'm doing, because you were making other people feel fine and great at what you were doing, but you needed to feel confident about what you were doing. And I think working on that.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you have to have that control of what you want to be. And I think why we get into what we get into, especially as artists, is because you have a certain taste, right? And your taste is up here. And when you start, you're down, like you're down here, right? Mm-hmm. And so to have the persistence, perseverance, and work ethic to keep going, eventually you can catch up to where your taste is. And that's what makes people great, right? Is they keep working and working and working to be like the greats, because you fell in love with your art form, because you saw it for what it was. And it's a lifelong journey to get to where you want to be for it. But when you keep going and you keep pushing it, and you listen to the positive feedback loops that happen, and you pay attention to the dope stuff that's happening, and you're like, okay, well, the universe is clearly rewarding my hard work in this thing that I love to do. It is a lot of work, but as long as you have those moments, you check in and you realize like, okay, not in a depressing way, like, oh, I have so much work to do, but in a fun way. Like, it's challenging. I often say that, like, I feel like a happy little lab rat in a very enriched environment, but you're in charge. Like, we're all in this little rat race together, but you are the one who controls your circumstances, your environments. And like, if you're not challenged enough, you can just pick up a new hobby and bash yourself down and realize how much you got to learn. And if your ego gets too bad, well, then pick up another new hobby and realize how much you suck at it, and then start working that one up a little bit.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's a great attitude to have, and great advice for those in chat. Like, listen,
happy little lab rat.
The people that are, you can see it in the people who are obsessed with something, with being like going after it. There's the people that just kind of want to do it something, and they're like, sure. And they're, couldn't be decent at it, and even good, even great, but not the best, right? It's the ones who are obsessed that go and get it. And you see that in sports, in music, in art, film, everything. It's 100% accurate.
You found your passion when everything else you do feels time taken away from it.
Wow. That's some like sage top of the mountain stuff there, my friend. Clip it, ship it.
Clip it, ship it.
Let's
Never
go.
Quit it.
Let's take a quick note from the chat. Maddox BE says, how long did it take you to feel comfortable in front of a crowd?
So my first DJ gig, I was only DJing for less than a week. And that's why I started DJing, is because I got booked to play a DJ set. But it was a crowd of my friends. And like I wasn't nervous because I was like excited, I guess. The nervousness comes after. The nervousness comes once you start taking it seriously, I guess. I still get nervous sometimes, a lot of the time. So it doesn't really go away. Sometimes you like are excited and you ace it. Other times you play a bunk set. People aren't feeling it, or sometimes just you're not feeling it and nothing's bunk about it, but internally you're like, that was fine. But I guess I'm in control now. I guess that's the biggest difference now. I've been DJing enough that when things go wrong or anything like that, I know how to get out of it, but I'm also well aware when I do what I want to do versus when I fix it. I guess it's the same in rapping too. Like when you're practicing your techniques or whatever, when you're doing your repertoire rap, you can just switch directions if like the weird thing you were trying is getting a little bit difficult. It's the same with DJing. Like you figure out that you're actually in charge of manipulating the music out there, and it gets a lot less scary in that sense because like, let's say you brought a song in at the wrong time, you can just create a loop. But that's something that didn't unlock in your brain for like the first year when you're learning stuff.
That directly applies to freestyling as well. When you mess up your flow, you go with
you're
it.
Just like, oh,
lean into it, and that's your new flow.
You gotta surrender to that flow, man, or else it'll drown you. You just gotta follow the wave that you go, and that's how you keep with it. Because you can't, if you trip up and you keep tripping, then you're gonna fall down.
Yeah. There's that thing they talk about commitment, right? You commit to the error that you made in order to
it's
make
a happy accident. Commit to the mistake.
It's do it
twice.
It's the Bob Ross approach, right?
Yeah.
It's a happy little accident.
That's actually what someone told me once. If you make a mistake, like while you're DJing specifically, do it twice and then it looks like it's on purpose.
Yep.
And like that's the other thing that I've learned with DJing, as well as rapping, obviously, but DJing specifically, be decisive. Don't drag out your mixes. You make a decision, own it. Like half of it is just stage present. You mix something at a weird spot, pretend like you really meant to do it. And everyone thinks you did because everyone's having fun. Some of them are drunk. There's literally like just the one angry DJ in the corner who's like,
who knows?
I heard that. Yeah. And the thing is like, it sucks, but when you get more into DJing, that's whose opinion you care about. Like it's yours, and it's like the one little like old turntablist in the corner who's like, do you know where this is sampled from? And you're like, I should.
My laptop. I don't know.
Yeah.
When I've performed in a bunch of bands over the years, and the one thing that I think it was probably going into my second one, a fellow that was much older than me, probably 20 years older than me at the time, the thing he said is, the biggest thing is never apologize for what you're doing ever. If you make a mistake, never apologize for it. It was part of the show. It's what happened. What you did is what you did, and that's fine. They are here to see you. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. And that mistake, you did it. That's all you have to do is know that you did it and fix it next time.
Like I headlined last summer, one of the first festivals that I was like flown out, super awesome to headline. The last DJ left the Echo on the second channel. So my first mix into like literally get up there like 10 o'clock at night headlining. The first mix I did was a train wreck, right?
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Oh yeah, because like that Echo, like there is nothing that sounds worse than an echo on the wrong channel when you're trying to mix in. It's just like the one. That's why it's like playing with effects sounds super dope, but also like it can just sound so bad so quickly. So it's funny because like you just got to move on. Like you just got to move on.
Yeah. No, I mean, it can't be undone. And I think that's kind of what, my buddy, the the guitarist was getting at. Like, it's done. It's over. Move on. File it away.
Is they're not going to remember.
Nope.
They're going to remember the energy and the confidence you exuded more than the perfection of the delivery. As long as your delivery, as well as everything that you're doing, is like above the bar, that's when the energy matters more. The positivity matters more. The like owning whatever you're saying. Like I listen to some songs, like some well-known rap songs, and like rappers aren't even rhyming. They just say it with so much conviction that your brain doesn't care.
Yeah, sure. That's fair.
Yeah.
I've started just hitting, hitting crescendos and things like that, where it's like, it's right, like you said earlier, riding that wave, hitting the top of it, like, oh, okay, yeah. I've definitely noticed that in certain things. I'm like, they're not even rhyming, but somehow this still works. Because
they didn't sacrifice the meaning. They didn't sacrifice. Yeah, it's about the beat, but they also didn't sacrifice the meaning of what they're trying to say. And that's something that took me a long time to learn, because sometimes you peg yourself into like a lyrical miracle box, but then you realize that if you switch up and focus on a very specific aspect of rapping, which is the perfect rhyme, sometimes you lose the meaning, which is more important.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Thank you for that gift to Linda freaking Shirley. XF, I appreciate that. Linda Shirley's another one of our West Coast friends. Let's go. Just looking at the audience, I have to look at it on my phone because we are talking via Discord. For those of you out there that don't know how this is happening, I can't click off Thuggy. Otherwise, everyone will just see DMs. So not a great move. I have some other stuff. Let's come back to one of my questions. Recently, let's get into this. Recently, you were injured out in the water, and what sort of nautical accident took place there with some, I believe, some sort of conveyance on the water?
Honestly, like the track record of the ocean trying to get at me is brutal. Like I don't like, I know it's on brand, but if my demise is the sea, it's gonna make sense.
Yeah.
You know, like
keep it on brand. Maintain the corporate identity, Thuggy.
Soshell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty sucky. It was super sucky. And then on top of that, I found out what was basically there was something wrong with me for a while. Like my voice was, I kept on with the show, but things were not. I'm an adult, but like I don't have a family doctor. Like you don't realize how many things you have to take care of until it's time to take care of them. So basically, long story short, I had strep throat for a month, went to the States for a month without knowing it, and then had it for a few weeks back before I got on antibiotics. So it was really, really tough because on top of the ocean injury, which we'll talk about in a moment, I had like a serious vocal injury and I was still rapping. Like I was still trying to do everything that I could. I went and recorded in the studio and it was so hard because it took me a whole day to record a song and I couldn't understand why I couldn't, like none of my notes worked. And I just pushed and I pushed. And I'm sure that if I just slowed down, it probably would have gone away a little bit quicker. So the injury that I had regarding the ocean, it was a beautiful sign from the universe, which literally karate chopped me in the throat with a surfboard to stop talking for a week and practice vocal health.
There you go.
Which is a beautiful way of looking at it. And it was definitely a very testing learning experience. It's the first time, not only in my adult life, but probably my whole life since I learned how to speak, where I've been quiet for a week. I cosplayed as the Little Mermaid when she had lost her voice to keep morale high when we streamed.
Clever.
Because we had to stay in character. But essentially, I was down in Cali. Voice hurt already as it was. And then I went surfing. And I was like, perfect. If I'm out surfing all day, I won't talk. And that'll give my voice a break. Anyway,
sorry to laugh.
No, it's good. It's hilarious. I went with some people who had been surfing a lot. And so I was like, okay, is there anything really important that you should tell me? And they're like, they didn't. And so the most important advice I have for someone that's new to surfing, never put the surfboard between you and a wave. Like hold on to it at all times, even if the waves are tiny. I was out there surfing for like an hour. And then I was coming back to the shore and it was the smallest wave ever. Like I'm walking back to the shore, got my like wetsuit down. So I'm like, oh, the surfboard can just whatever. Anyway, tiniest wave, thanks to the kinetic power of the ocean and the wind currents, picked it up completely. Like I've never been hit so hard in my life. I didn't know what happened. I thought that like, I don't know. I thought I got shot or something. But basically like due to the centrifugal force, the tiny wave just like straight karate chopped the surfboard into my throat. And I walked onto the beach and like I couldn't speak and I couldn't talk for like almost a week.
Whoa, that's terrifying.
Yeah, it was bad. And like, it hit me like straight in the larynx. And I'm actually pretty lucky because if it was like an inch higher, it would have busted open my lip, like broken my nose. Like it hit me hard. I've never been hit that hard in my life. Like I've never been hit a lot, but I've definitely like the universe karate chopped me in the throat. I wish I was exaggerating, but I was like so confused. So that is what happened. Everyone was worried about me for a minute. I was worried about me for a minute. And then I came home and like my throat was still messed up. And so, I went to the doctor and I finally they're like, oh, you actually had strep throat, but we couldn't call you. So you should have been on these antibiotics for 2 months. And I was like, it was a pretty low point for me. Like it was on with the show everywhere. But it was a really, really tough little bit. There was a bunch of whack stuff that happened in like a month. Then I went from the universe having a crush on me to like the universe is like, we're getting even for all how good I've been to you your whole life. It was like strep throat, surfboard injury. I had a phone stolen. I broke a phone. Someone tried to hack all my social media. Someone tried to hack into my bank account. There was like a couple other things that happened. It was like all these things in like a month, and I was just like,
Dang.
I don't know if I can be Soshells anymore. Like I like grew this nice layer of salt around me, and I'm like, I cannot do what I used to do. Like I don't think I'm gonna ever get out of this. And then lo and behold, we got me on antibiotics. My voice started being normal. So it came back, finally like sat back into my routine, and I'm doing good now. But for a month, I was like, I really don't know how I'm going to be able to keep up with what I was doing.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you have a very intense schedule too, so that I can see.
It was tough.
Yeah. So are you consistently practicing a rest at this point for your voice?
Yes, I tried to. Basically, like I'm trying to at least take like the morning off on most days. And Mondays. Well, yesterday when we had our sound check, or on Monday, was it Monday? Yeah, we had our sound check. So, I mean, the strong answer is no, but I'm trying.
Okay. Yeah. We had we had our sound check yesterday, and Thuggy was quiet. It was hard to do a sound check.
Yeah, I was chirping in chat though.
Yeah. I went through the DMs. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get back to the like real content. That's not a conversation. From that conversation, I was trying to find the like, what time is she doing her thing or whatever. It was fantastic. That's great. Here's a good question from Solitude in Discord. He wants to know, why are you called Soshells?
Because my name is Michelle and I'm a thug.
He says, there's nothing thug about you.
Hey.
Liar.
Hey, you do not want to step to me.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with me.
Look at this tattoo. I'm full thug. Where's my toque?
Let's talk about that.
I got a new tattoo, and then I put on a black t-shirt and a toque to go out to my friend's show. And I was like, man, I'm straight out of GTA. I look like I was going to steal your girlfriend and your car.
Punch a passerby for no reason.
Yeah, I use my powers for good, but there's been a couple times that people stepped to me or like messed with the vibe of rap night, and you don't want the fire to come out.
Yeah, the little fire plug, right?
Yeah.
What about the tattoo? I mean, you've got this new tattoo that's got the lines out.
For those we're getting it colored in a couple weeks.
For those of you that haven't seen it, make sure you check out Thuggy's Discord. And it is a ferret wearing, I believe, a chain with.
His name's Bandit.
Oh, that is Bandit. Okay, with a microphone. It's fantastic. Super dope.
I'm super stoked. It was funny. I wanted it for so long, and every time that me and my friend talked about it, my good buddy of mine, Ryan Weiser, he's an amazing artist. I'll pump his Instagram. We've been friends for like over a decade. Like I've watched him go from like super talented artist, graffiti artist to like doing tattoos and stuff. And he's been doing tattoos forever. And we hung out a bunch over the last while, and we'd always talk about it because I always wanted it. And then he's like, oh, let's book the idea. And so then he like did up the artwork, and then after he did up the artwork, we like put the fake ink on me, and I was like, oh wow. And then we booked a date for it, and even the day of, I'm just like, I don't know if I want an arm tattoo. I don't know how I feel about this. I even called my mom on the way there, and I was just like, Mom, I might get an arm tattoo. And then even like when I had it on me, I was like, oh my God, I have an arm tattoo. And every single day since, I've fallen more and more in love with it. I look down at it and I'm obsessed with it. Which is like, I think it's better to be really, really reserved and then love a tattoo, which is like, other than like loving it and then you get it and you're like, oh.
Right. Yeah, I don't have any tattoos. I'm too fickle about everything.
No teardrop tattoo. I promised my dad. No face, no neck, no hands.
Yeah. No Post Malone or Lil Wayne.
Water Malone.
Yeah, or Lil Wayne or anything like that going on.
Yeah, but now it's cool. Like now that I have this one, I'm kind of like we're getting colored in, and I'm excited. Like obviously I'm not in a hurry to get it filled in, but I definitely am gonna add on to this piece and like probably work up before I work down. But I'm like, oh, I like this.
Yeah, you get the whole sleeve and then the whole chest.
I mean, I have a couple other tattoos
down the other arm.
Y'all don't see my legs very often, but I have a huge piece on my thigh that I got when I was 18, and like I love that piece. Balance is really good.
It's awesome.
Tattoos are cool. I haven't gotten one in so long though that I was like, But at this point, like I'm like closer to 30 than 20. My career as a rapper.
Yeah. It tracks. Let's talk about you've done some work I see with Blue List TV.
Those guys are awesome.
Yeah. I've enjoyed what they're doing over there. What can you tell us about your affiliation with them?
They just reached out. So basically, they like they're owned. They are owned by Warner Music Group. And I've never actually asked them specifically, but basically, it looks like they just wanted a channel on Twitch to support creatives and awesome musicians. And so they reached out to me when they were first starting, wanting me on their segment. And their team has been amazing. They have an office in LA, but their main office is in New York. So I'm hoping to see them there when I am there in May. It was super unfortunate. I was going to go to their head office when I was in California, but because of the incident, I was like, I can't rap. Like I really want to see you guys. But
I'm busted.
I was busted. Busting did not make me feel good. So then, yeah, so I did the first season and it was super awesome. And then they're just like going on the up and up. They're growing. They actually just asked me today to renew for the 3rd season. So I'll be back and it's kind of nice. I've just been their little rapper, but they're awesome. It's really cool to see them supporting and working with all these creatives around Twitch. And it just keeps building the community. Yeah, they're super dope.
That's
Big
fantastic.
Shout out to Bluelist TV. They treat me good.
For sure. I enjoy their content a lot, and I was glad to see that you were involved with that. So that's a pretty cool thing.
They're awesome.
Ghostbuster.
Their mod team is so sweet too. Like it's super good vibes there. I really love their like social media. They have really good content and like really funny stuff. Like you can tell that their office environment is like just the best vibes.
Tons of fun.
Yeah.
Have you ever done any, this is a question coming up from Goat. You've probably gotten this before, but for our viewers, we'll give it a shot. Have you ever done any battle rapping of any sort?
So my first gig ever was a battle rap.
Let's go.
And since then I've been asked, like nowadays I've been asked a lot. There's a battle league in my city and it's like, I'm saving it for like the big ticket event. You're gonna have to pay me a lot if you want to see me battle rap. Because I would be really good now. I've written a lot of battle raps in my head when someone's pissed me off. And nowadays, like, it'd be pretty bad. Like, it'd be, because, like, I channel my powers for good. But when I get worked up, I work it out through music, right? So there's been, like, the time or two where there's been a situation. And, like, the bars that I come up with, like, they're brutal. And I love battle rap. I'm a huge fan. Like, I watch all the, like, King of the Dot especially, and all those. But yeah, I'm not, I've been reached out to a lot to do it, and it would take me a lot to say yes to it. Like if there was like a crazy event for charity or something like that, or if they were like flying me to Hawaii or something. But I stay out of the battle leagues because I'm also scared that I would just love it, and I would just like I'd have to switch over my whole persona to being like the opposite of bubbly gangster, because that's how I've been feeling lately. Like I'm still who I am, but I'm leveling up and developing as a person, and I just every day I give less and less and less of a duck. And my amount of bullshit I put up with is just like exponentially dropping. And so the thing is like, it would be really fun, but I'm like, be good. A part of me even wants to too, but no. I know I do need an alias.
Yeah.
I've actually thought about that too, of like the battle rap alias, because like, man, some of my zingers are like, oof. Because there's been like the odd time where I have to like, gently put someone in their place when they're disrespectful at rap night in a certain way. But like, I really have to like, you have to hold back and do it in a respectful way, which is sick. Thug Hells. Let's go.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Celis.
So yeah.
Hire that man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plot twist, actually. It sounds like I do want to go battle rap, but I'm not gonna. Other things I gotta focus on.
What are your thoughts on the battle rap scene just generally? Because I know there's a lot of talk about the fact that some these large events that are set up, these guys have 2 months or so to set up, what they're gonna do rather than like on the spot.
Yeah, that's the thing that I personally think is like lame, like not lame. Okay, so like watching a lot of battle raps, it's crazy the amount of work that goes put into writing, but it's really, really hard nowadays to ensure that people are freestyling, right? Like back in the days, Scribble Jam, which is like where like Eminem and all of them came up, it was like pretty much impossible. Like those were the days that I wish I was around for with the skills I have now, because that was sick. It was like, I don't know if it was like thousands, but basically it's like a round robin. Like you don't have time to pre-write your rhymes or else you're just going to lose. You're going to be battled out. So nowadays, a lot of it is scripted, which is an art form in itself. But I guess like I it's hard because you can write like such cool stuff. It's a different art form. And it would be really hard. But I think the magic, if you were to go into it with the skill sets of writing and freestyling, is you have your crazy zingers that really apply, but you're able to work off what they give you and work off of their outfit and make fun of something they did that week. So I think that it's really, really tough nowadays because you can have such a polished battle rap that you see being done. But it takes away from like the freestyle people. But then also, if you're like that good of a freestyler that you just destroy the written rap, then that's a whole thing on itself too. But yeah, the big ones that are like super televised, obviously they're pre-written,
right?
Which is, like I said, another different skill. But I think that's kind of the main reason that it would be less fun for me. But there's no way to prove that someone is freestyling. Or like let's say this is a freestyle only battle rap. There's no way to ensure that one of the competitors hasn't pre-written stuff, which is like, I think that being a rapper, your whole life is practicing so that you have these bars to draw on.
Sure.
But
that's how I always say it's the Rolodex of things. Like, if you've written a million things, and it's the ability to be able to roll through that thing and find the one you need within 0.3 of a second.
Well, that's exactly it. I played a show on St. Patty's Day, and it was in this basement. It was a couple days ago, and this pub crawl people rolled through, and I just got on the mic, and I was like, "Hey, y'all, I don't drop the ball. I got more bars than your pub crawl," and then that's all I said, because like I've rapped that before, like more bars than a pub crawl, and I thought it was funny. But the ability to be on the spot like that and use, what's that one movie where it's like all their life story things come together? It's like on a train in India. And then he's like on a game show. Anyway.
Slumdog Millionaire?
That's the one.
Yeah.
So that's basically like your life is like, and that doesn't just apply to rapping. It applies to life experience. The more experience you have in anything, you can learn these lessons and apply them in the right moments to be like hella steezy or hella smart or whatever it is you are. So I think the more you have of that, it'd be cool in battle rapping. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to bring like a bubble gun to a knife fight, because like, how are you going to compare apples and oranges? Yeah,
I mean, we certainly do that sometimes on when we're playing our freestyle rap battle game on Mondays. And we'll have what we do is we call it Gladverse City instead of Madverse City, where we'll do like compliment bars. And those are crazy hard to do. Because you're so used to doing the opposite, and you have to keep it super clean because you're being nice to them. I love that. A couple folks always come in and do that, and so that's an enjoyable thing. The battle rap scene is just a ton of fun to watch, and there's stuff out there that's like that is promoting it to some degree. You've got shows like Wild 'N Out, which is, I mean, clearly a reality TV show, which is almost surely written.
I got into that for like a second there, but it was too scripted for me. Like, there's a couple segments I really enjoyed, but I'm like, a lot of script to this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's entertainment. So
it'd be sick if there was like, it's hard when you have so much like Hollywood money, because there's like so many producers that have say over stuff. I think it would be like a revolutionary takeover if there was an actual show where people actually freestyled. Like, that's what I do with my freestyle rap night, and like on a smaller scale, people tune in every 2 weeks and it's dope. But to have it in the structured format, it'd be super cool. Like, I was actually watching Wild Now. This was a while ago, and I got to go back and do some more research, but I was checking out like a couple of the games that they had on there that would actually be applicable, that would be like fun to play out at a rap night. And this is what I'm gonna do like one day eventually, but when I have time and I'm done all my stupid albums and stuff, I want to really channel back into rap night with like cool games, and I want to do like the Rap Olympics, because people don't really put that kind of stuff on, and if you want that kind of stuff, you have to do it. But there's like I was watching Wild 'N Out, and they had one section where basically the person had to like rap hints about what the one person's like profession was. So stuff like that, and games like that, like you have to like rap about what it, like you bring an audience member up and like you have a profession, so like doctor, and you have to rap about everything except the word doctor. And so like stuff like that would be really, really cool, and like that would be very unscripted. And I think that if you figured out like certain games and just different things that you could play that are like highly entertaining but also involved, you could have a very, very successful off the cuff unscripted show, because the beauty of improvising is you're improvising.
Yeah, I mean,
you just need to pick out like legends to do it because they got the skills.
Yeah, I mean, that's very much along the lines of what Freestyle Love Supreme was doing in Vegas, who are just.
I've never heard of that.
Freestyle Love Supreme is incredible. It was started by.
Wait, there's a movie? Oh.
They.
I know what I'm doing tonight.
They were started by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Wait, is this still a thing? I'm going to Vegas.
They don't do that anymore. No, they stopped in.
They stopped in this year, January 29th, 23.
Yeah.
But
it just
why?
ended.
I want to be on it now.
They were fantastic.
I'll be there in October.
Very, very. And they would have like the people from that Lin-Manuel knew, like Daveed Diggs was on there, and like all sorts of people like that. Is fantastic.
This is what disappointment.
Chris Jackson, basically everybody that was in Hamilton was at some point a guest at least on the show. And yeah, it's literally just an improv show. They would bring people up and, or ask for scenarios. And instead of just improv comedy, it was improv. It was still improv comedy, but it was in the format was hip hop and freestyle. It was so fun to watch, but totally worth a look.
I just saved it in my tab.
You'll go down that.
So many tabs.
Go down that rabbit hole.
Yes.
Somebody mentioned in chat the epic rap battles of history on YouTube. I don't know if you've ever watched those. They're tons of fun and that sort of thing.
Those are awesome. Those are silly. I've definitely gone down that rabbit hole.
I love I do like that sort of stuff.
They're
just
so
because it's
well done.
Exactly. And I like and chat will back up me using this word. I like the shtick of it in the sense that it's it's a gimmick, right? And it sticks and it's funny and people love it.
Those are super dope. I agree. Those are clearly scripted, but you want them to be.
100%. Yeah, they spent time, but it's also they've got that really
that
fun.
Could be an unscripted game you play, right? Like you could just be like, now you're this against this, and then that's another thing.
But what I liked about those epic rap battles history is they have the fun kind of props and things very similar to what you're doing in your videos, where they're like over the top props. You know what I'm saying? Like you have your giant Thuggy Juice thing, which is like 3 gallons or whatever.
What can I say? I need my big gallons.
That's just 1 gallon. You're just that small, right?
Hey. I am pint-sized.
Pint-sized.
Tiny but rhymey.
I love tiny but rhymey. Wonderful. Always with the bars. Let's talk about a little bit about your rap night that you put on there locally.
Yeah, I love my rap night. We're actually in 2 cities now.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're expanding.
So what's the origin of that, and what type of folks you seeing come to that? What's the throughput on the people that are getting on stage, and what was the nexus of bringing it to a second city?
Yeah, it's been an incredible journey. So basically, the story's origin begins probably about a year before COVID hit. So there's a production company in my city, Cheshire Productions. I used to do a lot of their poster work and kind of whatever they needed. They were just friends of mine that I really supported. And they started a poetry night called Cheshire Chats. And I went to the first one they threw. It was at Orange Hall, which is a big hall that I actually throw parties at now. But basically I was like, oh, this is really cool. Cheshire Chats. I was like, maybe I should start like a opposing rap night to be on the others. It was on the Thursdays or whatever. And I was like, I should start a rap night. So I picked up under their name, I called it Cheshire Freestyles, and I started throwing a rap night. And then basically we moved to a venue that was beautiful, but it didn't really care about me or my rap night. So it wasn't a lot of support there. So I poured blood, sweat, and tears into making these rap nights dope. I did not know how to stream. Every week I would bring my laptop and every cable I owned to try to make it streamable. And this was before Twitch. This was on Facebook. I just wanted it to broadcast out to the world. Could never get it good even one time. And then basically when we were in the question mark period of COVID, of his stuff shutting down, is it not? The venue pulled the rap night without even telling me. Ugh. So I was like, okay, well, that's gone.
Heartbreaking.
But it was awesome. Basically we had a little solid crew of my regulars and my friends who would always come and always support. And I would book a different DJ and a different feature rapper. I'd make all the posters. I put in so much blood, sweat, and tears into it. And then COVID hit. So whatever, flash forward a couple years, built a global cult empire, whatever you want to call it, which was super, super dope. And then then right as stuff was kind of talking about opening back up in my city, I'm really close with the owners of the Starlight Room, which is one of the most iconic. I'm so proud. The Starlight Room is in Edmonton. It's right downtown. It's been open for over 30 years, and they have a giant stage upstairs, and they bring in like from rock bands to metal to rap to electronic, like everything you name it. Like so much history has walked through those doors. So I'm good friends with the owners because I've worked in the music scene here a lot. I did a lot of promotion work. I did a lot of posters, yada, yada, yada. And Tyson, one of the owners, he was just picking my brain about live streaming because they were putting in some cameras and trying to get with the times of advancing and stuff. And then somehow Rap Night came up, and he was like, "Would you if you want to kick it back up?" And I was like, "Actually, that sounds pretty good. Like, I finally got a handle on what I'm doing. That would be really cool. Like, the world is opening back up. I really did enjoy doing it." And then I talked to my friend Jeff, who owns Cheshire, and I was just like, "Hey, I might pick up Rap Night again." And he basically gave me the blessing. He's like, "It was always your Rap Night. Like, you just take your Rap Night and do whatever you want to do with it." Because it was Cheshire, but like I did everything, the posters, the bookings, the running of it. They helped a lot. Like Jeff was always there vibing with me. But yeah, so I took my Rap Night and I started doing it there about a year and a half ago, and it was a pivotal change having a venue that cared about me. They not only support the whole music scene, but they support me as an artist. Like, they're so proud of me, and I'm so proud to be a part of them. So having that has been amazing, and it's been so absolutely crazy because we have just so many people that come out to it. Like, we have a very, very devout following of regulars who come to rap, as well as people who just come to vibe. Like, every second Thursday they come and they're ready to dance or eat chicken wings. And now, without stressing about it, because I used to be like, oh my God, no one's going to come, the venue's going to hate me. Now, not only am I supported like financially enough that I can make sure that I'm taking care of the DJs that I book and the rappers that I book, but I can take care of myself. And now I don't even have to worry. Like, I know everyone knows about Rap Night. I don't even have to over promote it. And like, rappers come, the regulars come, and it's been so awesome. It's been wonderful streaming it because the platform, aka Twitch, has gotten to meet my local community, and that local community gets to meet the global community, which is honestly like, I've never been in this to do anything by myself. Like, I would always like what I've built to be shared with the squad and the people that I care about. And I just want to connect the good in the world. So it's been amazing because now, like, everyone on Twitch, they get to meet all of my local homies who are unbelievable. And a lot of my friends here, not only have they not had that platform, but they haven't really had a place that they could really watch themselves and hear themselves back. So there's been just so many magical moments, and the community, both globally and locally, is just intertwined and like continuing to grow. And it's awesome because we have different rappers, different DJs, and you never know what you're going to get with those nights. And they just keep getting hyper and hyper, and they're my happy place. Like, that's where I go to just jam out with my friends. It is what I love to do. And how it spread to a new city, it was amazing. Shout out Roger. So there's a lovely, lovely human named Roger who lives in Red Deer, who is pestering this giant venue in Red Deer to bring Thug Shells. Turns out Dylan, DKF Yeah Drums on Twitch, Dylan is a legend. He's my OG homie. He runs the sound at the Starlight Room. His uncle owns the giant bar in Red Deer at the VAT. It's this beautiful, beautiful building. And he reached out to me and he's like, "Hey, this is long overdue. Like, they want you in Red Deer. Do you want to do a DJ thing, a rap thing? Like, what you want to do?" And I was like, "Oh, I guess we can try a rap night in Red Deer." So we just chatted, and we're gonna officially turn it into a monthly there. So bi-weekly in Edmonton, monthly in Red Deer. Watch out, Alberta, coming for you.
You're taking it over, my friend.
Yeah.
Do you have a bucket list, location performance that you'd like to do?
I would like Shambhala to finally like respect me enough to officially give me a set. I've been grinding there, and Shambhala would be like the pivotal, because I've been unofficially on so many stages. I know everybody there, and I'm like, just book me, guys.
Yeah.
So definitely Shambhala would be super sick. It'd be sweet to play the Red Room, and that's in Vancouver, and I would just like that. I just don't think it's happened yet. I'm sure one day it'll happen there soon. It'd be sweet. Like, I just went to the Junos, like the Edmonton Grammys or whatever. Or they weren't the Canadian Grammys, but they were for Edmonton for the first time in 19 years. And it's so funny because I've never like thought about accolades, but I was like, oh, it'd be sick to win a Juno. And then I said that to someone, and he's like, of course it would be sick to win a Juno. That's like the biggest music award in Canada. And I was like, okay, well, I want to do that. And then I want to play on this wherever the stage that's happening.
Yeah.
So that would be pretty cool. Red Rocks.
Obviously.
Would be, yeah, obviously.
The Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And then also like on a crazy boat. Like I just like I go houseboating every year, but like I want like a big boat, like Holy Ship or like one of the boat festival raids. Like if you got a boat and you want to book me, that's primo.
Let's go. One of
Yeah.
those trillionaires with one of those 900-foot long
Yeah.
yachts.
Oh yeah, I saw Jessie Reyes perform it live in person at the Junos. That was really cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. What about? I mean, you talked about going up and working with Afro, or at least ciphering with Afro Man there, and like
Yeah,
spitting
the
like
rap back. I was like, oh.
unbelievable. I mean, have you maintained any contact with like Capadonna or Afro Man or anything like that, or was that just kind of a little bit of a one-off?
No, not really. I mean, not really a one-off. I guess with Capadonna, there's been a couple like points of separation. Like I don't have his number, but like I was texting someone that he was with, and like so there's like baby points of contact there. With Afro Man, he reposted the video of me on his own Instagram, and like we've commented on each other's stuff back and forth.
That's awesome.
It's really cool. Like that was a really cool week, and especially with the Junos like a couple weeks ago, my city was on fire, and I got to meet so many Canadian musicians and stuff like that. And it's really cool. Once you're kind of surrounded by a bit of the greatness, you get this like bug to keep going at it. And it's nice, right? Because I'm at the point in my career and my life where like I have what I want to do. I'm on the path. I don't want it to happen any faster. So I'm not like, I don't get starstruck. I'm not super weird about it. Like obviously if I met like someone I was like obsessed with, I probably would get starstruck and all my like cool points would go out the window. But for the most part, I'm not like the eager little like, ooh, how do I network as much as I do? But that makes it beautiful because it becomes really authentic. And I went to this big event after the Junos that was like an invite only one for Sony, and there was a lot of artists in there who were like pretty big, and I was just like, and I was in my own city in my own stomping grounds, and I'm just like snagging the snack bar and just being goofy, and it's awesome because like the longer you kind of experience in it, you feel comfortable enough to be yourself around people that you meet, and you try to keep in contact with them just by like being you. If I'd met Avril Lavigne, I would have died though. She was at the Junos. If she was at that after party, that's when I would have lost it. Or I would have like really overthought it, and then I probably wouldn't have even spoken to her, because like that's my play with like, if I ever, because I've always wanted, like Eminem is what I grew up on, but like I know he hates being approached. So like if I saw him, I don't think I'd be able to talk to him because he wouldn't want me to.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I mean, you said you kind of started down this path about 5 years ago, and you mentioned, coming up on Eminem. What, when you were coming up, other than Eminem, like what were your the rap inspirations, or even any musical inspirations that kind of led you into, kind of following this musical path in your life?
Yeah, so like my musical path literally, I mean, obviously I liked a lot of music when I was younger, but my musical tastes have over the last like 5, 6, 7 years, that's when it's really formed. When I was little, I listened to a lot of Eminem and basically no other hip hop. So one of the things that was my crutch, my weakness, my thing I wanted to work on was I needed to go back and study hip hop history. So it was maybe like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. Last September. Anyway, I went back to like 88 and like found every important album of every year, chronologically listened to everything, because I wasn't getting all these references. Like I hadn't studied the OGs, I hadn't studied the greats. I never grew up on it. So it was hard for me to cement it all in my brain. And now it's awesome because now I have, obviously I'm not an expert, I'm not a mastermind. I can't tell you what album dropped with who and what the features were. But I went back and I listened to like all the great boom bap, and like I got to know it a lot more. Who super stands out? It's like Tribe Called Quest. Like I really love Slick Rick. Or Kim is dope. Nas is a G. Busta stole the show with the Hollywood Bowl. Mac Miller stole my heart. I miss him every day.
Pittsburgh. Let's go.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. Yeah, I'm gonna come visit. I need to come visit for the tour.
I'll take you to Blue Slide Park.
Yeah, Andrew said Thuggy was a festival girl. I was, yeah. So I started in the electronic world, and that's my induction into hip hop was a very different path than most people. I started like rapping about dolphins over the music that was happening in the stage, and then I grew the balls to be like, hey, can I rap on your set, when I had no right being on the main stage with my like raspy little voice. Which is fine. It was part of the story. And then after that is when I kind of delved away from the electronic stuff and started rapping boom bap. And then I started DJing, and like it's been a very, very interesting like I guess come up is what they call it, because I got inducted into this like magical fairyland, but like hip hop itself is a very different world. But I was greeted with so much positivity, and all my friends just supported me. And like now I feel like, you know, when like a river carves its way through like the bank and it turns all the pebbles to like a nice like glass sand and stuff. I feel like that's slowly what is happening to me. Like I started out as like, you know, a bubblegum rapper, and like slowly you just you learn more skills, you grow more confidence, you learn different styles, you pay respect and homage to all the greats who done it before, and you pick up all this stuff. And I feel like I obviously have a lot more to learn, but it's insane what I feel like I've learned in the last just couple years dedicating myself to learning it.
Yeah, and that's what you were saying earlier. You have, you know, you've dove in hard, and this is
jumped in the stream
where we get the obsession to go for exactly what you want, and that's admirable.
Because I didn't want to just be good, you know. I didn't want to just be good as a rapper. I didn't want to just be good as a DJ. Now I'm like, I don't want to just be good as a scratcher. Like I want to be great. Yeah,
and that's, you've got to put in the hours, and everybody, even those at the top of the game, say that, and they still say it to this day. Always working, always trying to get better.
Yeah.
It's a refrain.
If I stop, the existential dread takes over, and we can't have that. Those are bad days.
Yeah, I feel that.
So when my voice didn't work for like 2 weeks, or like for almost 3 months, I was going crazy. Like I couldn't rap. It was the worst.
Yeah. It's funny how fast that, you know, when you're running at such a high octane and, you know, trying to keep yourself at the tip of the spear of you know, excellence or whatever. If it gets a little dull, boy, does it get dull fast, and it's hard to get it that sharp again because you fall quickly. I've definitely saw that, you know, with certain things I've done in my life, and, you know, it's hard. You either get them back or you move on to the next thing. And, you know, you mentioned that earlier, you know, sometimes you have to say like, maybe this isn't my thing, and, you know, find a new obsession or a new hobby or a new thing to go towards.
Lately I've started like a couple new hobbies, and it's been really good for my mental health. It's been really awesome kind of stepping away, because I used to kind of get like, I don't know, I have a very love-hate relationship sometimes, not so much anymore, actually. Now I really appreciate it. For a little bit, I would be like, I wish I didn't start DJing because I have to organize all this music and I don't really feel like DJing. But then like when my voice, I needed a rest, I could really fall back on DJing. And I got to the point where it's like, I used to, like when I was learning how to DJ, you know, like if I made a mistake or whatever, the transition wasn't as sick, I would bank on my rapping to make it awesome and like cover the mistake and stuff like that. But now I've gotten to the point where like, obviously I make mistakes, but I don't have to bank on one or the other to amplify the skills. Like I've built them both up to a place where I'm really, really happy and comfortable with them. So now it's awesome. I've been adding in like a lot of other weird stuff to like challenge myself, and I've been feeling like such a beginner. But after you get over the stumbling blocks, it's so awesome because you're like, you feel like a child again. Like I've just been like exploring all this stuff and following my curiosity and creativity, and like it's opened up this whole world of play. Like I was saying, like the aerial silks and the scratching. I'm like, oh yeah, this is what it's like to like discover a new thing and fall in love with it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, one of the questions we've got in here is like, how much time do you dedicate to your craft, versus those other things, like, you know, keeping yourself fit and, you know, doing something new like the silks that you were talking about, which is kind of a twofer.
So Wednesdays are now my 1 day a week, and it's pretty new. It was the best. I'm so happy. It's been so good for my mental health, and it's been nice taking a day away from it. And obviously, like the endorphins and the strength come from it, but I look forward, like now that I started my Wednesday thing, I can't wait for Wednesdays, because Wednesdays I shut off my brain and I train.
Yeah. I play hockey, ice hockey once a week, and it is what I look forward to the most. Because
so nice.
It's my off switch. I'm just going out. I'm getting a adrenaline dump.
I'm home, there's no off switch.
Right. It's always on. Yeah. I love it because you get the adrenaline dump, you get the endorphins, you get some exercise and have a little fun.
And the energy there is just goofy and silly.
Exactly. And you can just do whatever. You know, it's just out of bounds of your normal set. Yeah, that's fantastic. Have you considered, and this is not leading in any way, shape, or form, have you considered, moving to the States to a maybe a media capital like New York or LA or Chicago or Atlanta or something like that?
It's funny because when I was in LA a couple months ago, oh man, I met all the best people. Like they tried to steal me and like could have just not gone home and it would have been like I would have just been and it's funny because you get home and suddenly you fall back into your life and you're like, oh, I like this
Comfortable.
again. But the amount of moves that I made in like 2 days in LA, it's crazy, you know? Like it's nuts. So I guess the long answer is like I need to get my visa still, and in order to get my visa I need a few more accolades, mainly like press, because I'd want like a 3-year visa. I don't want to mess around with like the tiny baby ones. So it's like I need to stay home. I need to work on my production skills. I need to stay in it for like another year. Like I could just go and do the thing. And I actually have thought about it, about how like I couldn't leave rap night and I would like try to switch it to a monthly and like fly home once a month to keep it going, because I couldn't leave stuff like that. But I guess it's definitely been a thought. And I have a bunch of music coming out, and like there's one lyric that really hits that is my favorite song that I've ever made. It's called Greatness. And it's the lyric is, how are you going to be the hometown hero if you never leave your hometown? You know?
Wow.
So yeah. And it's hard because I'm so comfortable here. And I've had pets forever, right? Like my cat, Churchill, he was 19. He just passed a couple months ago. And like we're down to one ferret, George Michael. And Milo has eaten his own foot. He's 11, right? And so for the longest time, what kept me very, very tethered to my home base is how much I love my pets. Like I moved out with them when I was 16. It's been me and them forever. And so it's getting to the point where like they're getting a little bit older and like hopefully I have a lot of good years left. But in my brain, it's kind of like, okay, well, when I no longer have that responsibility, that's when I'm no longer tethered. So basically like this next year, I got to get through this festival season because it's going to be a really awesomely busy one. But I started producing. So I want to sharpen those skills, sharpen the rest of the skills. And then like a year from now, I guess we'll see, because it's the natural progression. And I can't spend my whole life living in my hometown. But I love it here. Like here is happy. I go out, everybody knows me. But it was really crazy because like when I went to California, specifically LA, I've just been so grateful and so lucky to have been connected with the proper people all through Twitch, actually. Like my friend Laura Wiley Piano and my friend Demoth, who has Mobile Coin Radio. Basically, like they're just two very different worlds in LA, but they're two like basically connectors of the good vibes. Like I went there and everyone that I needed was who I found. And I was like, and I forgot that I knew a huge community there from back when I was a baby rapper in the music festival scene. And they're basically like, come down here, we'll start you a rap night here. Like all the pieces are there, and it's just saying yes to that is like it's so scary because I know it would be so good, you know, like it would be good. But it's a choice. It's a choice you have to make. Yeah,
I think Harry Mack said that at one point, something along the lines of like, you know, step forward or leap and the path will appear or something like that. And he had to do that at one point. The same kind of situation, like, you know, if I'm gonna have to do this at some point or it's never gonna happen. It's boy, oh boy, it's
I mean, I've been slowly getting rid of like I came back from this trip and I started getting rid of stuff, and I've been slowly getting rid of stuff. So I guess like
preparing,
who knows what's gonna happen. But it's like this whole summer, like I have a lot of bookings that are unannounced, but like, you know, obviously life just gets busier and crazier, but the amount of opportunities that I've been presented with this summer, like I already know that it's just going to keep rolling. The amount of music I have stacked to release, it's just going to keep rolling. That's why people are like, oh, do you wish you did this or this? And I'm like, I am going at exactly the pace that I can handle right now.
Right. Yeah. And you can't overload. That's the thing, is like you talked about having people, you know, do things for you now because you simply, they are better at them and you can't get to what you want to do.
Yeah, and my mods are absolutely amazing. So I guess like really what we're figuring out right now is like, how can we get life set up for me so that when I make that leap, I land?
Yeah.
It's like exciting, but it's scary, but it's like, it's sad leaving stuff behind, you know, because it's just like, you can always come back to it. And obviously there's great, but just like, some days I'm like, I've outgrown this. And other days I'm like, I don't want to leave. You know, it's a weird one. It's like actually gets me emotional thinking about it.
Yeah, it's really tough to step out.
I can't leave my rappers. Like I can't leave rap night. I love them so much.
Yeah, it's it's so hard to. I say this
Look, I'm crying.
I know, it's okay.
I'm a gangster.
Look, I say this all the
I want to
time.
leave sticks.
I say this all the time to people, okay? Change is hard. It's so hard, no matter what it is, whether it's moving, whether it's, taking a new job, whether it's losing a person or a pet, right? It's change, and it's so difficult because there's a level of grief that happens there. And just we're wired as human beings to find our spot and be comfortable. But when you're out, pushing hard and you're trying to advance what you want to do with your life, boy, do you have to break out of that. Boy, do you have to break out of that. And it's hard.
Yeah,
Change
and it's
is
so hard to think about it too, because I don't know, I think I've been lately, especially, I'm just trying to figure out what I want as home base, because I know that whatever I want in my life, I can have. I'm supported and I'm capable. Whatever I choose to do, it's gonna happen, and that's amazing. I'm friggin' blessed. But I guess trying to figure out what I want as home base and what that looks like to me. Because the thing is my life isn't gonna kibosh if I decide to go somewhere for 3 months. That's your life. Is short, it's long, it's whatever it is. But I guess, yeah, it's scary trying to decide what the heck it is you want, because you have to be concrete with that decision, and then you follow through on that decision.
Yeah, I mean, you get.
So I think I told myself that a year from now, change is imminent. Basically, I don't want any change before this festival season, because I'm going to be gone every weekend, and it doesn't make sense. But for the fall, I'm pretty over it.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I think the self-awareness is super mature.
It's a process.
Having that, yeah, it is. Like I said, change is hard.
I can't wait to put out the EP. So basically, I have so much music I'm putting out, but there's one EP that I just finished in the last month. And chronologically, I'm not going to put it out for a while, because I have a bunch of stuff that I put off putting off, and that has to come out first. But I'm living in this new EP, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it.
Where do you do your recording?
Actually, so I used to record just at home with my little Halo and my mic. But we have a really, really awesome friend in our community. D's Wax is his name. Super talented, great dude. So he not only is a very, very good rapper, he's a mastering engineer with a recording studio in his apartment.
Awesome.
And he also comes and DJs Rap Night a bunch. So I have been having an absolutely amazing time recording in his studio. It's been awesome. I cherish our days together, and I've just been living in the studio. It's been really dope.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so great to be able to have those sort of facilities, or to be able to do that, because boy, setting it up yourself is a whole thing.
Yeah, and it's been sounding so good, and it's been really awesome too, because I've been for the first time ever. So I'll give you a little preview, but the project that I finished this last month, the EP is going to be called I Can Do It Myself.
Nice.
And most of the tracks I made mostly myself. So I've been working on producing, and it was sweet because we recorded a song a couple days ago. I produced the whole song, and we didn't change anything, and then I recorded over it.
Wow.
But it's been an awesome process watching and stuff, because there's a couple songs that I started, and then I'd bring them to the studio. D's Wax would help me flesh them out and finish them, and get the the bass sounding right, and we'd have to replay the guitar so that it wasn't a Shazamable sample if I found a sample I liked or whatever. But it's been really cool. It's been the first time that I've been so intensively a part of the process, and that's been the most powerful thing, because through being a part of that process, it's starting to make me realize that I can really do it myself, with help from my friends.
Well, because you're your own boss, right?
Because I'm my own boss, yeah.
Just
so
lead
it's
that,
been
tie
cool.
that together.
Yeah, perfect.
I love it. Yeah, that's fantastic. DIY Thuggy.
Let's go.
That's incredible. Friends, need to make sure I say, if you do want to meet Thuggy, you have the opportunity to do that, because Thuggy is going to be at the Calgary Harry Mack show. Make sure.
Toronto and New York.
So make sure that you are.
But especially the
there.
Calgary one.
Especially the Calgary one. Make sure that you are there. You might see her there. There's a good chance. So make sure you can. If you can go to that show, it'd be wonderful. Opportunities.
It's almost my stomping grounds.
Almost.
Calgary is just a city away.
It's true. That's super dope. I know it's really cool to be able to get to all those shows. I'm only going to 2 this year, unfortunately. A little jealous.
Yeah,
you're getting to 3.
I didn't like mean to become like an HMAC groupie, but it just like it chronologically it just made sense. I was like, well, obviously I'm gonna be at the Calgary one because like, that's in Alberta, and then we just me and my mods are doing a meetup in May in New York, and so we're obviously going to the New York one. And I was like, well, might as well fly through Toronto.
It's right there. It's it's basically where
go to the San Francisco show. I mean, I feel like I need to return home to Milo eventually, or else he's just gonna be so sad. Like he'll be fine, but he'll just be so sad the whole time I'm gone.
Well, I'm going down to see your good friends, the Risky Biscuit Band, when I'm down in...
I need to go to Atlanta. I love them. I think I'm just gonna... I've been meaning to reach out to them for a bit because, like, they're like, when are you visiting? And I'm like, But, like, flights are so cheap places. I should just go down for a ridiculous weekend. I'm going to do that once...
I'm so excited. I'm so happy to finally meet those guys.
Give them hugs. Yeah, we hung out all of TwitchCon. It was the best. I was like, hold me, all of you. They're so good. Yeah, they're so good. Every time I go in there, they just serenade me. They stole my heart years ago.
They're fantastic. Yeah, I'm crashing with Logan. It's pretty awesome, and gonna get to go to a show with them. They're playing like a private show, and then I'll sit on in 1 or 2 of the streams. So I'm pretty excited
Give them all
about
my
that.
Love, please.
Yeah, and I get to see a lot of the folks here that are here in chat. Hopefully, I get to see Tina and JT and a couple others. So
do we have a lot of ATL aliens?
ATLians, yeah.
ATLians.
I don't know if there are many in here tonight, but certainly a bunch in the community. So I'm pretty excited about that. Let me see. Go to see what we have in chat here. People asking some questions. We already answered that. Oh, have you ever tried to get on the Austin show, the talent show?
Actively, I've been told about it a lot, but I haven't followed through.
Okay, yeah, I know there's a bunch of those things on Twitch and YouTube and things like that. Those kind of like talent shows that are...
Yeah, there's a lot of those. I don't know. I just kind of stay in my own lane.
Fair enough.
Those would be cool.
Yeah.
It would be cool. Yeah. Are there any you would recommend checking out?
The only one I know is the Austin show does that one because that was the one Harry was on ages back.
I remember that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd that go?
He was
the opening for it, right? Like
that was the next year. The previous
he was
year.
In it.
Yeah, the previous year he won. It wasn't even close. Obviously.
Okay. Yeah, obviously. That makes sense.
Schmackus asked, what instrument do I play? I was normally the singer in the bands, but I do play like rhythm guitar. That's a question for me. How about that? This show isn't about me, so let's go back to you. What skill would you possibly like to learn outside of the things that you're already doing? I know, like we talked about Spanish. Yeah, I mean that's something you can do on the road too. So
I know.
When you're running, Duolingo that. Let's go. Speaking of Pittsburgh, that's a Pittsburgh company.
Very passively, I want to learn Spanish. Well, my favorite producer, I brought him in from Spain for the big party I threw in February, and he was teaching me Spanish all week, and then he left, and my Spanish vanished.
Nothing.
I got nothing. But one day.
My daughter took like 6 weeks, like one day a week.
He like shames me. We have such a hilarious relationship. Like we've been friends for like years, but every time we're like together, it's like... It's so fun because I'm just like a child. Like he'll be like, "You have to speak Spanish," and I'm like, because he's like my sensei, my little Spanish sensei, and I can't speak Spanish at all. So it's really funny because when we hang out, like obviously he understands English well, and like when we have conversations about things that matter, we communicate more. But then a lot of like when he stayed here a couple extra days was him like pointing at objects and me trying to talk about them, and he'll be like, "Now say a sentence," and I'd be like, "Frigorifico." And I'd be like, "No." Yes, I do speak fluent Russian.
Yeah, which is always dope when you dip into some Russian freestyle there a little bit. That's always fun.
No one ever expects it. It's funny.
That's how Iconic is. He'll dip into like Turkish sometimes, and it's like,
oh, that's cool. I didn't realize he speaks Turkish. My grandma lives on an island where half of the island is Turkish.
Oh yeah,
Turkey.
Yeah, his family's Turkish, so it's super natural. See what I did there? Supernatural. Super new word, natural. That wasn't meant to be a freestyle reference there.
They're just built into you now. It's just going.
It's funny. Get some of this crap by osmosis, honestly.
Yeah. Ooze.
It's sure good times. I was going to say you've got fluent Russian because I know you spent some time out there with your grandmother recently. You were
not in Russia.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was in the Ukraine.
No, she lives in Cyprus in the Mediterranean.
That's right. That's right.
It's the best. It's my favorite place in the world. I'm gonna go there again so basically like I used to spend my summers there and a lot of like my childhood there, and so that's why sometimes I forget because I'm so Canada bound. But then like half my childhood was spent beside the ocean, or I guess the sea. Yeah, as an adult, I thought I didn't have time for a couple years to go, and then last year I carved out a month to go, and it was the best thing I've ever done. So this summer is a little bit busy, but on the tail end of the summer, I'm going to carve out 3 weeks to go and spend some time with my grandmother and just me. It's really hard to leave Milo, right? Because he's like 11 and like
Right.
it's hard leaving an older dog, but I also need to spend time with my grandmother and with myself. So I have lots of people that love him and can take care of him. So it's the hardest part, leaving. But as soon as my last festival booking of the summer is done, then I'm piecing it for like a month.
Yeah, we having the dog, it's funny with a cat, like cats are like whatever. You can leave for a week, just put like 3 litter boxes down or whatever, a giant bag of food and water, and they're fine for the most part. Maybe have somebody check on them every 2 days. But like dogs, it's like, oh, there you go. Love it.
Yeah, my friend got this made for me when Churchill passed. He's a British guy.
Awesome.
I love him.
Slee says that's absolutely not true. I don't know. We definitely had cats that were fine for 3 days at a time for a weekend or whatever. They don't care. All my cats were never super affectionate. And
when I leave, George just like rules the house. Like it's like a cat.
Yeah, all the cats I've ever had were super disinterested in every human being in the house. It was just like they lived with us.
Yeah, but when they wanted attention, then it's like pet me.
Yeah, see, we didn't even have those. They were just like, yeah, you're good. And they might rub, and that's about it. Like rub up against me. And I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. You live here. I'm your staff and cleaning up after you, basically. But like dogs, on the other hand, you've got about an 8-hour max limit. And if they had their way, 5 minutes.
Yeah, less than that even.
Yeah, they're a different breed entirely. See what I did there? But yeah, we have our cousin, or my cousin has a dog as well, and we just do the like swap thing. Like if they go on vacation, we give them ours and vice versa, and it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah,
you got to have a good like family system.
Yeah, having that, especially with the travel stuff.
Yeah, last summer was nuts. I basically was just like a deadbeat ferret dad. Like I dropped my ferrets off at my ferret sitters, and I don't think I could get them for like 4 or 5 months because it was like, oh, I'll be home for 4 days here, but then I leave again. It was like, I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
That's tough. Yeah, it's tough.
But it happens, right? It's like I'm very lucky to be busy, and I'm very lucky to like have carved out a niche for myself in like an industry and a career that like some people have a hard time doing it in. So it's a good thing. But I miss the beds.
Yeah, they're the best. I'm huge. I keep looking back. I keep looking back like Ripley's back here, but she's not. Drop some Ripley emotes in chat, everybody. I want to see those. Shane P 803, which is the natural bar, wants to know, what's your favorite fan moment or feedback that you've received from someone? I like how you were the first one to drop the emote. I love it.
What was probably actually like, there's been a lot of like really cool ones, but I went out and I did a freestyle rap workshop for children in the Yukon of Northern Canada.
You mentioned this to me once. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so cute. And basically there was 2 girls there who were fans of mine. And their rap names are Tuna and Clam. They're 2 best friends, nautically themed rap names. And basically after the workshop, they like, it was a DJ and a hip hop workshop. So we got like the kids on the decks DJing while we were all rapping in the back. And then afterwards, Tuna and Clam and I just like talking, and they were just talking about how like they're working on their new album together, and it really inspired them.
How old were these kids?
That was the, they were like probably like Tuna and Clam themselves. They were probably like 10 or 11.
Like fourth, 5th grade. Love it.
And I just got a message from one of their parents on Instagram that was like, Tuna and Clam are still at it. So that was, rather obscure place. It was bumping. Yeah.
That's awesome though.
It was so cool. And that was the first time I'd ever done that, and it went so well. I would love to do more of that kind of stuff. That'd be really cool. Yeah. I think I'm at the point now too where it's like I want to start looking for more opportunities where I can give back from everything that I've gotten and provide not just for like children would be super cool too, but even just to like adults who might want to experience this and stuff, and like women in music especially, and like people who might not be exposed to this as much. So that's something that opportunities like that is something that I'm going to be creating and looking for in the future. Like I chatted with like music in Canada and women in music when I was at the Juno Week. So I'm going to be continuing some conversations there, but I would love to get involved in more of that kind of stuff, because like you work your butt off to get to a point where you can start kind of giving that back a little bit, and that in itself is really rewarding. And like doing the freestyle workshop for children was it was so cute. It was so cute.
So I mean,
that was one of my favorite moments.
Yeah, that's awesome, because there's a lot of underserved folks in the music scene, just generally getting advice from people that are actually in it, like in the the larger performance level, rather than the just basic music instruction, rather than the game, as it were.
People have a lot of questions, and like it's hard to answer them, because you just like you can spend your whole day answering DMs. Like I get messages all the time that are like, "How do you stream?" And I
do that for
go
Harry.
YouTube a video. Like
I do that all day for Harry. It's a lot of work.
I believe it. And like sometimes I really like I don't show it to people, but I get really angry and I get really frustrated when people come to you with these basic questions they can Google.
Yes.
As if they're entitled to like your time, and I understand it also, but sometimes I'm just like in real life it's different, because you can have a conversation, but man, sometimes I get really annoyed at the things that people like reach out to. Yeah, I found that I feel like in the past 10-15 years there's been a lack of like willingness to go figure something out on your own, or at least do a minor amount of like everything seems to be like the lowest barriers. Like that person knows what they're talking about, and they're famous, or like that person gets 1,000 DMs a day. You need to at least do some cursory looking before you, like, I don't email the guy from this old workshop or whatever about how to fix something in my house. Like I go to Lowe's and ask the person that's there, or I Google it. It's silly. Yeah, I feel like we just have so much information, and it's so easy to just communicate with each other. And it's funny because when I was like starting out and stuff, I feel like I did a lot of that unnecessarily too. But the more you do it, the more you realize that people doing it are kind of busy, and like it's like a certain level of like respect. You like reach out to them with like maybe specific things, or like, but it's different, right? Because if it's in like a platform, like if someone comes into my chat and asks a question, it's different because it's like an educational moment. But yeah, sometimes I'm just like, I don't know, just friggin' Google it. Yeah. But then, I've gotten to the point where if people say like, how do I start freestyling like you, I have literally just do it, buddy. Yeah, I've literally created like you can't say that. You got to be nice. Well, I've got like a list of like 8 videos. I'm like, thanks for reaching out. Harry's put together these videos for you to watch. Like, and they're all like the instructional. Yeah, I'm curious if I've seen them all. Yeah, they're good. He's actually been doing more of those. They're shorts where they're like a minute 30. Good. That's awesome. Yeah. Mez says, how many provinces in Canada? What are you talking about, Mez? Well, there's 3 territories and there's like 10 provinces, I think. Panda knows. Yeah, maybe 10. Yeah. And three of those are territories, so that checks out. 10 provinces and 3 territories. Yeah, I think I've only been in 2 of them. 2, maybe? Yeah, I've definitely... I drove across Canada last year, so I've been in a lot of them. I've played in a good chunk of them now. He was being mundane as if he couldn't Google it. I see what he was doing. Oh, I get it. You were being facetious. Good word. Facetious for the facilitators. That's a vocabulary treasure. Well, we already answered that one. That's great. Good to see. What's what you've got some stuff that you're releasing here in the next bit. Is there anything you can tell us about what's coming up? Yeah, totally. I'd be happy to talk about it. So I have a couple singles that are pretty dope, and basically like a year ago, I was working on a ton of stuff, and it was kind of like chill boom bap and like boom bappier boom bap. And I was like, okay, I want to put out an album. And then life got really, really busy. And now I sat down a couple days ago to organize it. And I'm like, okay, the chiller stuff that I had and the boom bappier stuff that I had makes sense as 2 projects to put out. So I guess what you can expect from me in the next little bit will be a single or two that's like kind of standalone, that's like high energy and pretty dope. Then I'm probably gonna put out like a chiller boom bap EP, followed by like a boom bapier boom bapper EP.
It's a lot of boom bap.
A boom bap. And then I just finished an EP. I don't know if it's done or not. I'm just probably gonna keep stacking songs and then see how big it gets. Right now it's an EP, but who knows? Maybe become an album. But that one I've just been working on recently, and it's awesome. I've produced a lot of the tracks myself, and some of them like I got some help with. But that one's gonna be called "I Can Do It Myself," and I'm like pretty stoked on it. I have a couple videos that are already lined up. Some that I've shot in Edmonton, some I'm shooting this week, some I shot in California. So that'll be really, really cool. I've been working on some house stuff. Like I wrote a house banger the other day and I recorded it and I was like, this is actually a banger. And this whole week I've been like diverted from the boom bap and now I've been writing like just like rappy house stuff because I've been in the music festival scene for so long. All my friends are DJs and producers,
right.
Like really good ones. And I'm just like, okay, I need to just start sending out like vocals. And so I have my drum and bass homies. I just wrote a song for them the other week, so we're getting in the studio recording that. So I think it'll be like a couple singles and then a cool like collabs with people. I've also been working with my rappers, my friends, and we've been working on a freestyle project called Straight Out of Edmonton. So we actually have a big folder of recorded stuff there. So that's gonna be a thing. But yeah, I've just been like laying down music and stacking it up and not being concerned with when it's coming out or not. Because that's the beauty of like being in everyone's face all the time. Between live streaming and live events, I'm here. Like you guys aren't forgetting about me. We're just getting more people into this party.
Right.
So I feel okay taking my time putting stuff out. And I wish that the stuff that I made like a year ago was ready a year ago and put out a year ago because like it makes more sense with where I was at. But it's going to be cool because when I'll release it, it'll just keep building that hype. And the problem I face with previous releases is I'm like, oh, I dropped my own boss. Okay, well now I have 1,000 shows and 1,000 live streams and I'm not going to put anything out for like a year. With what I'm stacking, I'm going to actually have like a year release plan, maybe more. And that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And because when stuff happens, then, significant stuff happens, you can drop a thing.
And it's not me up till 6 a.m. editing the video so it can be scheduled to release at 8 a.m. on YouTube.
Right,
like,
right.
No more of that. I'm done with that. I'm an upgraded thug.
Upgraded thug, hashtag.
Upgraded thug.
We have one of our categories today is Soshells for Prime Minister. When I typed in Soshells in the category, that was the only thing that came up as like a suggested category. I'm like, oh, I'm putting that in for sure.
Wait, that was what?
Yeah, I think somebody in chat said that
hilarious.
Somebody said they used it last week, I guess. So and it stuck. So.
Oh my god! That's perfect. I'm flattered.
Yeah, I love it. That made me laugh pretty well. Panda, Roxas Panda. Listen, hey, that's inside baseball there. What's some of your favorite tracks to work with? I'm not sure what the significance of that is.
My favorite track to freestyle over is always Hip to the Game by Lord Finesse. Like Mac Miller jacked it for one project that he put out. And it's just like my favorite track. Like sometimes when I just want to like loop a beat forever, I go over that one. My favorite drum and bass track to scratch over is the instrumental by DJ Markey. It's called LK.
There you
Those
go.
are the two that pop into my head.
That's very specific.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it felt like a specific question.
Nailed it.
Those
Checked
are the
off.
two that get me going.
Checked off the list. So can you talk about the festival season that's coming up this summer? Or you you have
there's only
got your schedule?
2 festivals that I can announce. Well, I have a show coming up in Saskatoon, April 8th weekend, Easter weekend, and then I'm playing the Cannabis Festival in Kelowna on April 20th.
Okay.
And there's only 2 festivals that I can talk about because the rest are unannounced still. But I am playing Wicked Woods in Fairmont, BC. It's an awesome festival. And I'll be streaming a ton from there. I'm going to be doing a lot of their like official, I'm going to be their kind of official stream, but on my channel.
Awesome.
And then another awesome one is I'm going back to Paradise in the Yukon. So I'll be up north.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so those will be really fun.
When you were talking earlier about doing the work with the kids up there in the Yukon.
Yukon adopted me. They love me. They're so good to me. There's literally a fight for whose house I was going to stay at last time I went there. It was the best.
Well, we talked a bit about the idea of kind of inspiring others to get into the game to some degree, and specifically young girls or women kind of being an potentially underrepresented group within, the hip hop community. Do you find, have you found peers that you have been able to connect with, female peers that you've been able to connect with during all your time here?
So I guess a ton in like the DJ side of things. In the hip hop side of things, I wouldn't really say as much, but I also haven't really like reached out as much as I could because I haven't really like had time really, or I guess. But I have felt really supported by women, and especially in the hip hop scene, I felt really, really respected. And walking out of the festival world where there are a lot of females that I connect with, I've never felt like I'm alone in any way, I guess, especially based on gender.
Do you find any like intimidation or discrimination of any sort? Like,
I've been really lucky. Like I always enter these conversations with the realization that if I had stepped into the musical world even a decade ago, my answer to this would be very, very different. There's a lot of females that grinded, put in the effort, and laid the foundation for me to be able to be where I am today. Because if I was coming up as a DJ like 10 years ago, there was only so many slots for DJs. Let alone female DJs. So that's why, like, when I have these conversations about equality, I enter the conversation knowing that haven't really faced a lot of discrimination. I've also like worked my ass off to carve myself a place in it. But I also realized that people coming up in the scene like 10, 15 years ago, they had to face it a lot worse than me. So I've been very lucky in the sense that I've been surrounded by a lot of positivity. And also I feel like I've kind of like I've been the boss. Like at my rap night, it's my rap night.
Yeah.
Like you step to me wrong, I'm going to put you in your place. And that's how it's always kind of been. And I didn't really do a lot of hip hop stuff. I basically went from like the festival scene and like rapping on stages where everyone's like, oh, look at that cute girl, she's doing her thing, to like I run a rap night now. So I haven't really put myself in a position to experience a lot of that. I'm sure there's been like moments kind of like behind the scenes where people say stuff, but yeah, for the most part, I feel very supported and empowered as a woman in hip hop.
That's great. Yeah, because I know that's not true in all fields. So
yeah, and that's why I feel really, really lucky, because I feel like especially in hip hop too, like there's probably, but it's been super dope because more and more females, like more and more girls are coming to rap night and getting on the mic there because like I'm the one that's leading it. Like I'm able to foster that. And when I first started in the festival scene, before I was a DJ, I would perform a lot with my friend K Styles. And I remember some festivals were all ages. And some of my favorite moments were like girls coming up to us after and being, basically they realized that like, oh, there's a girl DJing and a girl rapping. I can do that too. So being that face that's present in these scenes as a female is really cool and really empowering. And I haven't really experienced a lot of the negativity from it, but I definitely, there's been a couple, like as of recent, actually, there was a little incident that I realized, and that's when you realize that like it does exist and you do have to band together, and sometimes you have to step up and be the bad guy, because like if you don't, you're the only like woman left that could be heard. So that's been like a recent kind of, I've been really lucky most of my career, but lately, and I've realized that like sometimes you do have to step up and you do have to be that voice, but you have to get to a point where you realize that like it's all of us fighting for this.
Yeah, that's fair. And I know that that's an ongoing, this question comes up all the time in these situations. And it's probably something that every underrepresented person in any field gets. It's like, oh, what do you how do you handle this being the minority in this situation?
I practice so that they can't say shit.
Exactly. So that's fantastic. And sorry for the potentially trite question there, but
oh no, I don't mind it at all. Yeah. It's kind of interesting because it's like these conversations are they're fascinating, because I've been part of like panels before about equality, stuff like that, and it's really hard because my views like I was on this panel once and my views matched with another friend of mine, and we're basically like, we just worked really hard, so it doesn't matter if you're a girl or boy, you kick butt, or whatever gender in between, you're just good. You're not good for a girl, you're not good for whatever, you're just good.
Yeah.
But I'm also very sensitive to the fact that 10, 15 years ago there was 3 slots and none of them were supposed to be for girls. So girls had to really fight. But nowadays there's opportunity everywhere for everyone. So now we have to like realize you do have to work hard, but we empower each other and help put ourselves up to these opportunities. So I guess like it's hard for me to have these conversations because I'm just like, I just want to be good.
Yeah. It's funny, especially the freestyle scene. It's not, and you know, I don't want this to sound like this, but the freestyle scene is not a huge, you know, a hugely visible market, right? In popular media, it is definitely a niche thing,
which is interesting because it's my world.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny how that like your entire world is like it's a niche thing, but it's also like super dope. And if more people are exposed to it through, you know, this kind of stuff that where we're headed with media and things like that, and newer generations focusing on non-traditional medias and being shown things on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, etc., and even on TV to some degree. I know, you know, like you've got like Justina Valentine, you know, doing her thing on Wild Night. Yeah. And, you know, she's on Sway, just, you know, spitting and things like that. And people see that.
It feels dope to see girls out there killing it, you know? And that's what I want to be. I want to be a girl out there killing it to remind girls that they got to be out there killing it because they can.
Go for it.
Should. Yeah.
Yeah. And it goes back to what we're saying, like step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Change is hard, but you're better for it probably, you know, on the other side.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, Thuggy, we've been talking for almost 2 hours, and
I know I gotta pee again.
Yeah, it's good. Why don't we go ahead and wrap up? For lack of a better way to say it.
This was really awesome, Axs. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you are a delight, my friend, and it's always
Chat. You were so good.
Chat, you guys are the best.
The best.
You all are the best. We're gonna cut Thuggy loose here. Anything else you'd like to say to the fine people in chat and the folks that might be watching later on?
I don't know. Come hang out. Thanks for letting me be my goober self and exploring weird stuff and getting better at weird stuff. And I'm very grateful for y'all being here for the journey. You guys have helped me become who I am today. And the fact that I can be a genuine, authentically me and explore whatever whim it is I follow. And I know that you guys not only care about my success, but care about my health as a human. Like you care about Soshells, but you care about who I am as a person. That means the world to me. Like that's all an artist like me can ask for. So I guess, thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Thuggy. And we all feel that way about our communities because boy, oh boy, they certainly do make us, don't they? And having that relationship, that very intimate relationship with folks that you see all the time, coming to your shows, it's really, it feels good, and it always does to see those people.
Love our little candid conversations.
Absolutely, Thuggy. Well, thank you very much, my friend. Chat, make sure you go check out Thuggy on all socials. The ! Guest will get you to her contact page. And Thuggy, say goodbye. I'm going to cut you loose, my friend.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.